What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 4 nanoseconds. Chapter 111. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Master Kamajim, why are you here? Ron's face suddenly became extremely solemn when he saw Saint Kamajim coming over. After all, he was sent by Naval Headquarters to protect Kamajim. If something goes wrong, he can't bear this responsibility. The other pirates are fine, but the one here now is the New World Giant, the super-dimensional pirate group. Why can't I come? I want to see which desperate B***ch wants to snatch what belongs to me. Kamajim Sheng said coldly. Kamajim's words made Ron's brows furrowed, and 10,000 grass and mud horses were galloping directly in his heart. Good guy, please stop talking, you are going farther and farther on the road to death, but people are the men who arrived in New World directly from your lair. Marine's demon-slaying order is useless to him. Master Kamajim, I didn't mean that. Ron looked helpless. Kamajim glanced at Ron with disdain, and said angrily, shut up, you useless marine, whoever disobeys my order will die. After that, Kamajim directly took out the spear from his waist and pointed it at Suyu. Don't, Lord Kamajim. Sage Kamajim became angry when he heard this, and pointed the spear at Ron. You trash, I tell you to shut up, and I'll kill you first. Ron was silent, he sighed heavily, and thought to himself, okay, I will continue to watch how you die. Seeing Ron's silence, Kamajim Sheng pointed his spear at Suyu. Bang! Kamajim Sheng moved the trigger mercilessly, and for a moment the bullet came out of the muzzle. Diameter rushed towards Suyu. Captain, be careful, a pirate on the side shouted loudly. Suyu ignored it, watching the bullets flying towards him, and didn't even hide. Call out. The bullet passed directly through Suyu's body, and where it hit, a blue flame burned and a faint lightning flashed. Seriously, when I see a guy with a shit in your head, I'm angry. Suyu said coldly at Kamajim Sheng. Kamajim Sheng immediately became angry. You untouchable, not only look at me directly, but also dare to insult me. I am a descendant of the creator. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boom. Kamajim Sheng directly fired continuously until he ran out of bullets from the long spear, and then stopped. Looking around, Suyu had nothing to do with it. You cheap. Kamajim Sheng hadn't finished speaking yet, Suyu slapped it directly with a slap. The bubble hood shattered directly, his head hit the ground directly, and 4 or 5 teeth fell out. Ron's pupils contracted violently on the side. Before he could react, he saw Kamajim Sage collapse on the ground. After falling heavily to the ground, Kamajim Sheng directly covered his face and rolled on the ground. It hurts, you damn untouchable. Who gave you the courage so mad? Suyu said coldly towards Kamajim Sheng who was lying on the ground. If you kill him here, Admiral of Headquarters will be here soon. Ron exclaimed from the side. Marine Admiral, I'm not afraid when your steel frame is empty. Suyu sneered. Quote. Seeing that Suyu couldn't be scared, Ron couldn't help it. Suyu didn't pay attention to Ron directly, and slowly walked towards the Kamajim Saint on the ground. Stop, Ron yelled, then covered armament hockey with his hands and attacked directly at Suyu. Suyu moved quickly, and his right hand quickly covered armament hockey, then lifted up to defend. Boom. Ron's armament hockey is at the very first level. Before he touched Suyu's arm, he was sent off by Suyu's armament hockey. Diaresis boom. The surrounding marines raised their guns at Suyu and fired. Suyu directly released Conqueror's hockey, and a coercion spread quickly around him. Brush. Marine fell to the ground almost instantly, leaving only one Major General, and Ron. However, although the Major General Marine did not faint, his face became very pale. Of course, Suyu didn't perform Conqueror's hockey attack on Kamajim Saint, so he didn't faint. Because Suyu had to let Kamajim have a taste, without the price of being arrogant. You guy, what are you going to do? Kamajim Saint looked at Suyu who was approaching, and his whole body trembled. The next moment, what made Wang's good Suyu even more unexpected was that the guy was scared to pee. Seeing this scene, Suyu had no desire to do anything. Huh, you guy, it's disgusting. Suyu looked back at the liquid flowing from his crotch and backed away a few steps. Then, a blue flame ignited in his hand, and Suyu threw it directly on his body. The flame burned on Kamajim Saint's body, accompanied by a howling sound. He quickly got up and rushed to the sea at the fastest speed. Oh, forgot to tell you, this flame will never go out. Chapter 112. Obviously, even if Saint Kamajim jumped into the sea, the wailing sound continued. Although Ron and another Marine Major General also went to help, Kamajim Saint still couldn't escape the fate of death. It's over, Lieutenant General Ron. Our mission to defend Celestial Dragons has failed. The above must not spare us. Major Marine climbed up from the sea, frowning. Ron looked solemn, and said solemnly, don't talk about other things so quickly, it's not certain whether we can escape from the hands of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. You're right, whether we can go back alive or not is still a question. Major General Marine said in a deep voice. Hey, you guys, have you seen enough? Come down to move things. Suyu raised his head and cast his eyes on the second-floor window not far away. As soon as the voice fell, Wu Luki, Lem, Aizen, Tornado and so on. The group also jumped out of the window. Senior Aizen, Senior Hashirama, Senior Lame, Senior Ram. I am so happy that I can witness all the members of the Super Dimension Pirates team today. A man said excitedly. Every senior is good. Hockey 603, I really want to talk to them in the past. We are really lucky, thanks to the captain's work. Yes, even if you let me die now, I will die without regret. Not far away, Ebuk frowned even more when he heard his subordinates say this. He wanted to turn around and leave, but after seeing Emily, he was silent. Why, Emily will appear here. He muttered inwardly. Captain Su Yu, you don't bother to carry these things, seniors, let us come. One of the men walked to the side of Su Yu and said. That's right, let our second team do this job. Another man also said. Second team. Did you misunderstand something? Our Super Dimension Pirates does not have a second team. Senju Hashirama said. The man looked surprised, looked at Su Yu, then looked back at his captain. But. You were cheated. You people don't look at the strategy for sailing at sea. Don't be fooled. Wu Luki joked. Ebik took a deep breath, knowing that there was no way to hide things, and there was no way, he quickly walked up to Su Yu's face, and then knelt down directly. Yes, brothers, there is no second team in the Super Dimension Pirates. I lied to you all for the purpose of achieving it. Now my goal has been achieved, and I will take care of everything. Boss Su Yu, I'm sorry, thanks to your reputation, I won these people. Boom. Ebuk kept kowtow, and the floor tiles were soon stained red with his blood. You guy, dare to lie to us. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ebak's formerly born and dead partner rushed over, raised his fist and started a fight. At the same time, Emily also ran out, begging not to beat his brother. Su Yu watched from the side, and then faintly said, remember, Super Dimension will never have a second team. Don't be fooled. Regarding their affairs, Su Yu doesn't want to interfere too much. As for Ebik pretending to be the Super Dimension second team, he also got the price he deserved. Okay, move things and leave. As soon as Su Yu's voice fell, the group stopped their movements. Boss Su Yu, we want to join the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Me too, we are all willing to go through fire and water for the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Sorry, currently, our pirate group has no shortage of people. Su Yu said lightly. After hearing Su Yu say this, they were very conscious and did not continue to talk about joining the Su Yu Pirate Group. We understand that the Super Dimension Pirate Group is the pirate group we admire, and we will definitely not cause trouble to Boss Su Yu. A man categorically cut the line. Seeing them with such a high level of self-consciousness, Su Yu smiled slightly. Well, everyone, goodbye, we should go. Goodbye, Boss Su Yu. For the Marine guys, Su Yu simply ignored them. Marine was very self-aware and didn't continue to do it. Otherwise, they might all be killed here. As for the men who wanted to join the Super Dimension Pirate Group, they just beat Ebik, and then all left. For Emily, they did not move a single vellus hair, which is very benevolent. After a long time, on the boat, Su Yu opened a box, and all of it was filled with gleaming treasures. Seeing this, Su Yu leaked a satisfied smile. This time it's just making a lot of money. With a murmur, Su Yu quickly started work. Exchange. Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and getting 600 summon points. Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and getting 1000 summon points. Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and getting 500 summon points. This time, the summon value exchanged is more than before. Su Yu doesn't know what the situation is, maybe these treasures are more valuable. Anyway, for Su Yu, this is a good thing. Su Yu basically exchanges a box of treasures, he will observe his attribute panel, and the extra summon value saved is swallowed by the system, which is a bit of a loss. Host. Su Yu. Summon. Aizen 45%, Rem 45%, Hashirama 50%, Wuluki 25%, Jiraiya 25%, Tornado 20%. Summoning character legacy. Hito Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama. Summoning value. 80,000 80,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Underfire, 1792,000, Thunder Fruit, 1000 1000, Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1900 2000, Observation Hockey, 192,000, Conqueror's Hockey, 562,000. Warehouse. None. Task. Summon 8 crew members, 6/8. Finally enough. Now it's time to call a new member. Su Yu muttered. Chapter 113. Although it is a pity not to find Devil Fruit this time, Thunder Fruit cannot be evolved. But it's not bad to get this treasure, and these treasures are somewhat beyond Su Yu's expectations. From the original 1000 summon value to 80,000, there are about 1/3 of the treasure left. Let me see who I can summon this time. Start calling. Ding dong, calling. Summon success. Congratulations to host for getting from the world of Under One Man, Wang Yi. As usual, when the sound of the system fell, a bunch of light particles appeared, and then these light particles gathered together, and finally slowed down into a human form. Then from the virtual body, the blink of an eye, it transforms into an entity. The next second, one by one, long black hair, ponytailed, brown eyes. Wearing a uniform, carrying a thermos cup in his hand, he looked listless, as if he was not awake. Su-yu knows this king by himself, after all, he was an anime lover before he crossed. Wong hasn't spoken yet, but Su-yu was the first to say, "Welcome to join our big family." Wong hadn't slowed down, he was already listless, but when he heard these two words, he instantly frowned. Stop, stop, don't call it too often, some don't get used to it. Pharaoh. Forget it, just call it whatever you like. Wang Yi spread his hands, a little helpless. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something, and continued to ask, I have to say that the abilities you have are really terrifying, and they can make people cross different worlds. Don't be too surprised if you can't get on the stage. Su-yu chuckled lightly. However, strictly speaking, it is indeed, can't be on stage, because no one in the pirate world knows except for himself. Can't get on the stage. Wang was also a little confused. In his eyes, this ability is simply heaven-defying. In the next second, Su-yu's gaze was placed on Wang Yi's thermos cup again. Others summoned them and brought weapons. Good guy, you just brought a thermos cup. It's kind of showy. It's almost like that. Besides, I think when you didn't come over, there was a voice to introduce you to the basic situation. Su-yu asked. Wang also nodded. Where are the members of the boat? No. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Well, after they come back tonight, let me introduce you. Su-yu said lightly. Did they go there? You can go to play, you can also go shopping on the island, we will leave tomorrow. Su-yu reminded. How about you? I'm lazy, besides, I don't want to go shopping, it's boring. Coincidentally, I don't have much interest, I'll just stroll around on the boat. Wang also smiled slightly. Go. After the king was gone, Su-yu took out a part of the gold coins, and then proceeded to exchange the remaining treasures into summon value. Host. Su-yu. Summon. Aizen 45%, Rem 45%, Hashirama 50%, Wuluki 25%, Jiraiya 25%, Tornado 20%, Wang Yi 20%. Summoning character legacy. Hito Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama. Summoning value. 40,000 100,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Underfire, 1792,000, Thunder Fruit, 1000 Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1900 2000 Observation Hockey, 1900 2000 Conqueror's Hockey, 562,000. Warehouse. None. Task. Summon 8 crew members, 7/8. I glanced at my attribute panel again, and I felt pretty good. Moreover, this time the summon value was only increased by 20,000, which was not the same as usual, but directly doubled. It seems that the system is becoming more and more humanized. Su-yu said smugly. Find flowers. After finishing all these things, Su-yu walked out. No Wang Yi was seen in the hall, but he didn't care, and walked to the front of the ship. Prepare to lie down while fishing. But unexpectedly, Wang Yi was already lying on the rocking chair, holding a drink, drinking leisurely while admiring the surrounding scenery. Yes, Lao Wang, I'll enjoy it, Su-yu teased. There is nothing to stroll around on the boat, but this chair is very comfortable. Wang also said lightly. Yes, congratulations. Wang also successfully joined Su-yu and their salted fish combination. The other side. Naval Headquarters. 0. After answering the phone worm, Gangu Kong cursed and said, this gang of pirates, really itchy hands without causing trouble for a day. What happened again? Sengoku asked from the side. The Su-yu gang killed another celestial dragons. We can't understand the character of celestial dragons. We can only count him as unlucky when we met Su-yu. With his personality, not screwing the head of celestial dragons off on the spot as a sphere is considered a world government. Sengoku said calmly. I'm wondering, do I need to let some capable marine rush over? Gangu Kong continued. I don't think it is necessary. With the character of the Su-yu guys, I guess they have already slipped away. Sengoku whispered. It's a pity that even the corpse was burnt to ashes, and I originally wanted to transport the corpse back. Gangu said helplessly. Stop talking about this, continue the topic just now, we have to figure out a way as soon as possible to deal with the giants of New World. Chapter 114. When Sengoku said this, the look on Gangu Kong's face became a little serious. The day before yesterday, Roger fought the Rocks pirate gang again in the waters of New World. Okay. Hearing this, Sengoku splashed a trace of interest in his heart, raised his head, and fixed his eyes on Gangu Kong's body. How is the result? The news came back that Roger had fought Locks for a long time, and then the sea environment became bad. Roger took this opportunity to escape. It is said that Locks chased Roger for a day and night, but he let Roger run away in the end. Sengoku sighed lightly and said lightly, listening to you, I thought Locks destroyed the Roger pirates. However, this made Roger run away. His life is really hard. Gangu Kong also sighed slightly. My battle plan is like this. For Locks, if he doesn't do anything to threaten the world government, we will temporarily put him aside. Do you want to use part of Locks' power to deal with Roger and Su-yu? Sengoku looked at Gangu Kong with a surprised look. Yes, even though Locks apparently refused to cooperate with the world government, the resources that can be used still have to be used. Take the battle between Locks and Roger the day before yesterday. If Roger didn't run away, Locks would wipe out a pirate force for our marine. Sengoku nodded his head lightly, agreeing with Gangu Kong's words, and he said, however, Gangu, you were too sloppy to think that Locks was working together. Ha 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 ha. Gang Ji Yu Kong laughed loudly. Yes, that guy's ambition is to dominate the world. In his eyes, we Marine is an enemy. How can he cooperate with the enemy? Sengoku picked up the teacup on the table, blew it gently, then took a sip carefully, and slowly said, this is indeed a bit abrupt. It's all over. I didn't think about it so much at the time. I wanted to try my luck. The cooperation was not reached, and it was expected. Gengukong replied. If the current situation is like this, then you can only follow the method you said before. Having said this, he looked out the window. This will be a very long battle. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. New World, on the Sea. Since letting Roger run away, Lox has been unable to calm down for a long time. Unexpectedly, I really didn't expect that Roger's group of guys can actually compete with us for so long. Lox's face was extremely difficult, but it was also. People who hadn't been in the eyes before, suddenly one day had grown up to have the ability to resist himself. No one will be in a good mood. Yes, they are growing too fast. If Su Yu and Roger join forces, we might be a bit tricky. Charlotte Linlin said lightly. When Kaido and Golden Lion on the side heard the name Su Yu, Aizen suddenly came to mind. Perhaps, only the two of them know best that the Roger pirates are definitely no match for Rock's pirate, but if Su Yu's super dimension pirates are added, then the result will be an earth-shaking turn. Lox heard Charlotte Linlin's words and didn't refute it. Yes, he had already acquiesced. Am we recruiting new members recently? Are there any pirates who are more capable? Lox suddenly changed the subject. There are quite a few. The strength is quite satisfactory on our ship, and it can't be considered outstanding. As for some people with average abilities, they recruited nearly hundreds of people like this. Longbread calmly said. Lox frowned, apparently a little dissatisfied with the new member. He wondered, the name statement of his pirate group was bigger than Su Yu and Rogers. Why, Su Yu can find a capable member so easily, and he seems to have reached a full state at this time. Only through self-cultivation slowly, rather than being able to take up the position of cadre as soon as on board. Oh, by the way, Captain Lox, I forgot to tell you. Among this group of new members, there is a more interesting person. He has something to say to you after the battle with Roger. Longbread continued to say. Let him in, there is nothing to say about our meeting anyway. Longbread nodded, turned and walked out. After a while, he led a man with a thin body and a short stature with 3 scars on his face. Go ahead, what do you want to tell me? Lox spoke first. The man glanced at the cadres present, and then said lightly, Captain Lox, I just want to tell you this alone. They are all my capable cadres, just like my left and right arms, I am them, and they are me. Lox said coldly. The man fell into silence. After a few seconds, he sighed. Okay, this news, I will give it to Captain Lox as a gift to board the ship. First of all, let me introduce myself to you. I am a person who is very interested in world history and can be regarded as an archaeologist. The purpose of getting on your ship is also very simple, that is to protect yourself. I have a great piece of good news to tell you. The content of this news is enough for you to dominate the world. Seeing the man's confident expression, Lox raised his mouth slightly. I'm not big, but my tone is very big. Captain Lox, I am not at 3.6 mouths. If you get what I said, the Super Dimension Pirates, Roger Pirates, and even the world government, they are nothing but cannon fodder. The man continued, said. What is it? Lox asked aloud. Obviously, if the man's answer can't satisfy Lox, Lox is going to twist his head off on the spot and throw it into the sea to feed the fish. It has existed since ancient times and can destroy the world's 3 ancient weapons with the title of God. Pluto the Pluto, Poseidon, and Uranus. Chapter 115. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. When everyone heard the words, their eyes flashed, and they looked at the short man with interest. Yes, they were all attracted by the 3 ancient weapons that this man said possessing the title of God, and Lox was no exception. Of course, this was not the first time Lox had heard of the 3 ancient weapons. He had already heard about it very early, but he knew very little. Now that the man said it again, it touched his heart. Moreover, at this moment, Lox knew very well that the appearance of this man would definitely change the balance of New World's current pirate power. The little man asked aloud. I think, Captain Lox, you should have heard something about ancient weapons. Lox nodded and said lightly. Yes, when I was sailing, I did hear about ancient weapons. Well, the little man nodded in satisfaction, so that Lox would not think he was fooling him. He continued. 12 These 3 ancient weapons, as long as we obtain them, even the world can be destroyed, let alone dominate the world. At that time, even Roger Su Yu, and then add a world government to him, how can we do it? Listen to you, the 3 ancient weapons are really powerful, Whitebeard calmly said. So, here comes the question, you have said so much, where are these 3 ancient weapons? Kaido, who had been silent before, asked. As soon as Kaido said this, everyone turned their eyes to the short man again. I still do not know yet. Quote. Then you have said so much, there is no difference between not saying, you guy, come to be funny. Golden Lion said, couldn't help but laugh. Well, anyway, this news is indeed great news for Rock's pirate. I think you must have a way to find it, right? Lox said to the very end, his deep pupils stared at the short man. A chill couldn't help spreading all over the body of the short man. Yes, in Locke's words, the implication is not to ask him if he can find it, but to tell him that you must find it for me, or you will be useless. When, of course, it may be difficult for other pirates to find these 3 ancient weapons, but for Rock's pirate, it is definitely not a difficult task. Ha ha ha, I knew it. Locke leaked a satisfied smile. Then he did not forget to say to the long loaf, you have really solved a lot of problems for me. From now on, let him follow you, and you can talk to me if you need it. Okay, Captain Locke's. Long Bread nodded. Now, our primary goal is not to plunder the resources of other countries, but to find the 3 ancient weapons, and then directly dominate the world. An island, on the coast. The sky was getting dim. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The crew of Su Yu began to return one after another. What's interesting is that Wang Yi, like Su Yu, was lying on the rocking chair until dark. However, none of the returning crew members knew yet, a new crew member joined. When they returned to the boat, they immediately began to get busy with their own affairs. For example, Lem, when she returned to the boat, the first thing she did was to start cooking. Ram is cleaning, Wu Luki inspects the supplies, he will collect and supplement what is missing tomorrow. Senju Hashirama inspects the interior of the ship. After everything was done, they started playing cards in the lobby. Come here, and taste how good my new bread is. Not long after he came back, Lem had already taken a bath and made bread. This efficiency was a bit moving. She is not wearing a maid outfit, but a white dress with wet hair, which looks even more lovely. The crowd put down the cards in their hands and reached out to grab bread and eat them. Thank you, Rem, Senju Hashirama whispered. It tastes good. It feels good to eat and drink for free every day. No, I was wrong. My contribution on the boat is also very big. I will go to collect supplies tomorrow. Who of you accompany me? Wu Luki glanced over the people next to him while eating the bread. Don't look at me, I'm busy, I'm going to check the outside of the ship for damage tomorrow. Senju Hashirama explained. Don't look at me either, I'm not free. Rem smiled. Tornado, I remember that you have superpowers that can make things float, or you can go with me. Wu Luki said toward the tornado. Impossible, I won't go. Don't frame me, you will have nothing to do tomorrow. Then I will talk to Su Yu. You be asterisk 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 D, shameless. Ha ha ha, there was a burst of laughter in the hall. At the same time, Su Yu also walked in with Wang. What did you do? Su Yu asked. Bread, Su Yu, try it. 607 Lem said, bringing the bread tray in his hand over. Su Yu and Wang also reached out and took a piece, and then ate. Well, it's not bad, you can add this to breakfast in the future. Su Yu suggested. No problem. Lame smiled slightly. Yu Guang looked at Wang Yi next to Su Yu. Who is this? Su Yu hurriedly swallowed the bread in his mouth. After eating the delicious bread, he almost forgot to introduce the new member Wang and he got to know them. Our new member of the Super Dimension Pirate Group, let me introduce myself. After Su Yu cried, he continued to eat. Wang also nodded, clasped his fist and said, Wudang King 2. Puff, cough cough cough. Su Yu, who just wanted to swallow the bread in his mouth, was directly choked. Chapter 116. Are you all right? Lem quickly put the plate in his hand on the table, and then patted Su Yu on the back. Su Yu waved his hand and chuckled. It's okay, it's just a laugh. Welcome. Everyone is also very enthusiastic. You should get rid of Wudang. Strictly speaking, you are now called the Super Dimension King. Su Yu teased. I'm sorry, it's a little smooth, I just added Wudang to it, I'm Wang Yi. Don't tell me, if he doesn't explain clearly now, everyone will call him Wudang King in the future. The surname was changed directly from Wang to Wudang. What is Wudang? Lame looked at Wang Yi suspiciously. Well, it's one of the forces in my world. Wang also explained. Oh, Lem nodded. You can introduce yourself to him, I'm going to take a bath first. Su Yu asked, and then left. My name is Lem, Wu Luki, Torn Scroll, Hashirama. After all the members have been introduced. Wang Yechen said kindly. I didn't know everything when I first came here, so I will trouble you a lot in the future, or if you have any rules, you can tell me first. Regulations, in fact, there is nothing more. The protection fee is just what one person means. Wu Luki said nonsense seriously. Protection fees. Wang also looked at Wu Luki in a daze. However, seeing his serious expression, a thought suddenly flashed in Wang Yi's heart. This peculiar meow was real, not like a joke. Yes, I just came here, but I have paid a lot. Those old members didn't cheat me. Wu Luki pretended to sigh deeply. Wang also fell into silence and had completely believed Wu Luki's words. I'm just a poor Taoist priest, I have no money. It's horrible, don't give it to. Wu Luki just wanted to say something. Tornado said. That guy cheated you, what kind of protection money? He said nonsense. I'm going, do I still want to go on acting? You're done, you must go with me to collect supplies tomorrow. Wu Luki said lightly. Don't worry, Su Yu will never agree. Tornado spread his hands and didn't care. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Protection fees are indeed nonsense, but there is still a rule for boarding, that is, give us a meal, see if you can resist the beat, and decide whether you are a qualified partner. Jiraiya said slowly, the expression on his face was more serious than that of Wu Luki just now. Wang also frowned slightly. Is this all the rules for keeping doors? There is one thing that Wang Yi is really a little unlucky. If he doesn't ask what the rules are, it is estimated that no one will joke with him. But, if you actually asked, then it's a bit out of control. However, occasionally adding a bit of fun to the dull atmosphere on the ship is still a very good thing. Su Yu decided that when I came, I was beaten into a pig's head and lay down for several months. Wu Luqi said calmly. Me too. These old members don't know how to take care of the new members. It is for this reason that I have been worried all day and turned white all night. Jiraiya said, pointing to one of his own white hair. Okay, it's okay, you can scare people out of words, they are joking with you. At this moment, Senju Hashirama couldn't stand aside and said. Wang also breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, these guys, it would be a pity not to get an actor. Do you know how to play cards? Wang Yi, Wu Luqi asked. A little bit, Wang also replied. Did you show your hands? It's fun to add a bet. Wu Luqi continued. Be careful, that guy intends to take the gathering of supplies tomorrow as a bet. Lem reminded. Who is this ship? Wang also shouted inwardly. What did you ask me just now? Wang Yi looked at Wu Luqi. Can you play cards? No, Wang Yi immediately replied. As soon as Wang said this, everyone couldn't help laughing. Don't think about dumping the mission, you will definitely be collecting supplies tomorrow. The next day, what Su Yu didn't expect was that Aizen brought back a devil fruit for him. It is said that he snatched it from other pirate groups. This is really a big surprise for Su Yu. In the cabin, Su Yu took out all the common materials that evolved thunder fruit. Then, he placed the purple-skinned devil fruit next to him. Evolution. Ding dong, check if the materials needed for evolution are sufficient, whether to proceed to the next step. Determine. Ding dong, it's evolving. Evolution succeeded. Evolution succeeded in obtaining attributes. Fear of the sea, the effect of seastone-type items cumulative is reduced by 80%. You can eat other devil fruit. With the sound of the system falling, in front of Su Yu, the attribute panel suddenly popped up. Host. Su Yu. Summon. Aizen 45%, Rem 45%, Hashirama 50%, Wu Luqi 25%, Jiraiya 25%, Tornado 20%, Wang Yi 20%. Summoning character inheritance. Kido Aizen, Wood style of Ghost Blood, Lame Immortal, Wang Dejiao, Ren mode, Hashirama. Summoning value. 40,000 100,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Under Fire, 1792,000, Thor, 02,000, Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1900 2000, Observation Hockey, 1900 2000, Conquerors Hockey, 562,000. Warehouse. None. Task. Summon 8 crew members, 7/8. With this evolution, Su Yu's body did not feel any discomfort. Same as the last time, the Seastone type item weakening effect was also obtained. Also got the opportunity to eat another devil fruit. Chapter 117. I glanced at the property panel in front of me. Did Thunder Fruit evolve into Thor? Literally, it feels like a lot of hockey, but it really doesn't seem to have changed much. Su Yu murmured. Had it not been for the system to indicate that the evolution had succeeded, Su Yu would have thought it had failed. After all, under normal circumstances, after evolution, the body will have some unusual conditions. Of course, I tried it once before, but that was different, that was hockey, and this time it was devil fruit ability. Fear of the sea, the effect of seastone type items cumulative is reduced by 80%. Su Yu groped his chin and thought. If he calculates according to this method, he is eating a devil fruit and then evolving it. Isn't the effect of fear of seawater weakened by 100%? In this way, it completely ignores the natural items that restrain devil fruit. It looks pretty good. After that, Su Yu walked out of the cabin. Since Aizen sent devil fruit back, he went out again. According to normal circumstances, there should be only Su Yu on board. However, when he came to the front of the boat, he found that Wang was also fishing 610 on the rocking chair. Aren't you going out for shopping? We're going to sail in the afternoon. There may be no chance in a short time. Su Yu opened his mouth and said to the king. Wang also waved his hand and said lazily, it doesn't matter. I don't know what to shop when I go out. Targetless walking corpses. It's better to stay on a boat, catch a fish, and blow the sea breeze. Even the king said so, and Su Yu didn't say much. It doesn't matter if you don't go shopping, it just so happens that Su Yu has a favor and needs his help. Help. Okay. Wang also looked at Su Yu curiously. I'll wait and jump into the sea from here. If I can't get up, you can get me up. Hearing this, Wang Yi was slightly surprised in his heart. He looked at Su Yu with a bit of disbelief and said, don't tell me you are a dry duck. Hey, I don't know how to explain it. Wang also didn't know it, and it was normal, because when he came, the system only told him the basic situation of the world. For devil fruit or even hockey, someone needs to tell him, or he needs to know about it. Let's do it, you can jump, if you see something is wrong, I will get you up. Wang also replied. Su Yu nodded and jumped directly into the sea in the next second. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Pop. There was a sound. Su Yu began to sink, but it was as expected to be weakened by 80%. He currently feels only a little bit weak, not as uncomfortable as before. It feels good to be reborn. Su Yu floated up and started to try swimming. The king on the boat also saw this scene and muttered, isn't this a good swimmer? Not long after swimming, Su Yu began to become weaker and weaker. Then he did not continue. It seems that you have to eat a devil fruit quickly, and then evolve again, and never get anything like the fear of seawater. Su Yu whispered. Soon after, Tornado, Lem, and Ram returned to the boat from the town. And behind them, there are a lot of big bags floating. Su Yu, I bought you some nice clothes. Lem took some clothes and happily came to Su Yu's face. Su Yu glanced around, basically all of them were suit-type clothes. How is it? Does it look good? Lame looked at Su Yu with lingling eyes, looking forward to it. Good looking is good looking, but it doesn't seem appropriate for me to wear this one. Su Yu said lightly. Compared with these, Su Yu still prefers to wear comfortable clothes. It's not appropriate, you would be more handsome if you put it on. I'll take it back and wash it for you now, Lem said, turning and walking towards the inner diameter of the ship. Seeing Lem's small steps, Su Yu said with emotion, the crossing is so good. Suddenly at this time, there was Wang Yi's voice. Hey, Su Yu, there seems to be a ship approaching us. Hearing that, Su Yu walked to the ship fence, as expected, just as Wang Yi said, a ship that is not too big or not too small is slowly approaching. A pirate, but I have never seen the pirate banner. Su Yu currently sees only one person standing in front of the boat with an umbrella in his hand. He is tall, with white hair in two braids hanging over his shoulders, wearing a plum red shirt and blood red trousers. He wore black leather shoes with gold rims on his feet, and he wore a large blood red cloak with a plaid pattern inside and a blue rose around his neck. Seeing this, Su Yu suddenly remembered something, and her pupils shrank. This guy couldn't be Red Earl. The Red Earl, in the original book, is a great pirate in Roger's period. It is called Lonely Red and Lonely Rider. He is extremely powerful and can keep pace with Roger and Whitebeard by just one person. Of course, this is definitely not his peak period. Like Roger and Whitebeard, he is still growing. Earl Red, who is it? I didn't pay attention to his wanted warrant before. Ram asked on the side. A very strong pirate, Su Yu answered. The Red Earl has had a powerful observation haki since he was a child. As he grows older and stronger, he can see through people's hearts. But because of this, I am used to seeing the ugly heart of the people around me, so I have a great rejection of people and develop a withdrawn character. Therefore, he has no partners. Strictly speaking, his team is not a pirate group, but a pirate. Chapter 118. However, it doesn't matter whether it is a pirate group or a pirate. Whether he is strong or weak, neither has much to do with him. There was nothing valuable on Su Yu's boat, and, let alone the conflict with Earl Hong, they hadn't even met each other. Normally, there would be no conflicts. Soon, the ship got closer and closer. Wang also shook his rocking chair again, got up, and came to Su Yu's side. Tornado and Mu did the same. As for Lem, I don't know yet, but Su Yu is doing laundry. Is it the enemy? Ram looked at Su Yu and asked. Su Yu shook his head. It shouldn't be, and we seem to have no grudges with him. There is no reason to have a conflict when we meet for the first time. It's hard to tell. Some people don't see if they meet for the first time. As long as they want to get you, they don't need a reason. Tornado explained. Of course I understand the truth, let's see what he wants to do first. Su Yu said lightly. Su Yu doesn't like it very much. Of course, if Earl Hong wants to make trouble, he is not afraid. Su Yu's boat was only tens of meters away from his boat, and at this moment, Earl Red spoke. Super Dimension Pirate Group. Hearing that, Su Yu was not too surprised. After all, this is not a very unusual thing. Since entering the new world, a lot of things have indeed happened. It's a bit unexpected, I was able to meet you in this place. Count Hong smiled evilly. Su Yu put his hands on the fence and looked at the Red Earl quietly. Earl Hong also looked at Su Yu carefully. Suddenly, his complexion changed and his pupils shrank sharply. His observation haki can see through a person's heart. Since his birth, almost everyone he has seen has an extremely ugly heart. However, for Su Yu, all he saw was a blank space. His eyes were on Wang Yi again. Then there is Ram, Tornado. Without exception, all are blank. Blankness also means a lot. It may be that you can't see it, or it may be that these people are completely different from the people you have seen. Yes, at this moment, the Red Earl became extremely interested in the Super Dimension Pirate Group. He was very curious about who the people on this ship were. Red Earl's face returned to its former calm, and his tone became a little gentle. Excuse me, where should I go on Kemami Island? Hey, I just wanted to ask for directions. Ram said suddenly. It should be this way. Su Yu stretched his finger to the left. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Earl Hong looked to the left, was silent for a while, and then leaked a wicked smile. Do you fool me? Walk on the left, and soon you will arrive at an island, which is the base for Marine's temporary stationing. Quote. When everyone heard the words, they were slightly taken aback. Su Yu was also a little confused, so he just pointed it casually. Unexpectedly, he pointed to the Marine temporary garrison base. Then I don't know. Su Yu spread his hands and said. Tornado glanced at Su Yu and whispered. I don't know if he wants to fight or not. I think you really want to fight. Nonsense. Su Yu retorted. Don't know. Forget it, it's not a big deal. Recently, I have been hearing about the Super Dimension Pirates. It is said that they have the ability to reach the sky, cross the Holy Land Mary Geoise, and ignore the demon-killing order launched by the world government, so I want to try whether the Super Dimension Pirate Group really has such an ability. Red Earl said slowly. No need to try. Our pirate group doesn't have such skills. The world government is talking nonsense. The purpose is to let us pirates kill each other. The king who had not spoken in front also suddenly said. Su Yu glanced at Wang Yi. Okay, this kid is humble enough. Earl Red was stunned when he heard the words, and the other pirate groups couldn't wait to admit that this was true, and even reported how to do it. However, the answer of the Super Dimension Pirate Group was beyond the Red Earl's expectation, and directly put aside his awesome deeds. I'm really more and more interested in this pirate group. Red Earl thought inwardly. I don't think it is important whether it is true or not. What is important is that I want to challenge Su Yu, the captain of the Super Dimension Pirate Group. If I win and all of you join me, if I lose, I join you, how about it? Red Earl said solemnly. Red Earl has always been extremely repulsive to people, but he doesn't know why he is very interested in Su Yu and the others. Find flowers. Quote. Faced with these words, Su Yu was also a little confused. He remembered that in the original book, Earl Hong hated to form alliances with others and took loneliness as his creed. But what's the situation now? Obviously, both of the results mentioned by Earl Red are not intended by Su Yu. All the members join him. Impossible things. He joined the Super Dimension Pirate Group. That is even more impossible. Since that incident, Su Yu has completely eliminated people from this world from joining the Super Dimension Pirate Group. Oh, Su Yu sighed heavily, then said toward the tornado, you are right, you really don't need a reason to want to make trouble. Even if Earl Hong wanted to make trouble, Su Yu would accompany him to the end. It happened that he had evolved the ability of Thunder Fruit, so he tried Earl Hong. 0. Sorry, I don't agree with either plan. Su Yu's tone became cold instantly from the plain tone just now. Earl Red didn't care, he believed that the winner was qualified to say so. I will let you agree. Earl Hong grinned, and then jumped up instantly, using the umbrella in his hand as a weapon to attack Su Yu. Su Yu raised his hand and pointed his finger at the oncoming Red Earl. Thunder gun. ZZ. I saw the thunder and lightning flashed from the finger first, and then in the next second, a thunder and lightning rushed towards the Red Earl. Earl Hong was taken aback, and quickly turned over to avoid the attack. Thunder and lightning fell on the sea, and the sea suddenly surged. The Red Earl quickly landed on another rock not far away. Tornado, let the ship fly to other places. Su Yu exclaimed. I know. Tornado replied. At 2h at carat at plus. Then a faint light radiated from her body, and the whole ship floated directly in the next second. Su Yu jumped and landed on the beach. Earl Hong was slightly surprised when he saw the flying ship, but soon his eyes were placed on Su Yu's body. Chapter 119. Su Yu, I like you and your teammates very much, but I remember that your teammates are more than just those on the ship. Red Earl leaked a wicked smile. Generally speaking, in the more famous pirate group in New World, Red Earl knows a little bit more or less. Of course, it is impossible for everyone to remember it, but he usually remembers the higher bounty. After hearing Earl Hong's words, Su Yu's brows frowned slightly. Can you not be so perverted when you say what you say, just appreciate it when you appreciate it, and say what you like. Red Earl didn't care about the literal meaning, and continued, I have always hated alliances with people. Your Super Dimension Pirate Group is the first time I don't dislike the pirate group. You should feel honored. With my participation, your pirate group will be greatly improved, or if I have yours, the established pirate group will be the strongest rookie pirate group in New World. Red Earl was quite confident about his own strength. What kind of shit logic, you and you are the same in my eyes. There is no shortage of people on my boat. Su Yu said calmly. Really, I don't think so. You don't think it's useless, I just want me to think. After all, Su Yu's body began to flicker with thunder and lightning. In the next second, I came to the front of Earl Red in an instant. Fast speed. Earl Red quickly waved the umbrella in his hand while shocked. Bang. There was a sound. Su Yu's fist hit the umbrella, and the impact caused the Red Earl to keep backing away. The Red Earl quickly relied on his legs to cushion the impact. When he was about to reach the sea, he stopped. Lightning strike. As soon as the voice fell, suddenly, a huge thunder and lightning fell instantly in the sky. The ground and the sea exploded instantly. The mud on the ground mixed with seawater rose directly into the sky. Smoke and dust also followed. Since the evolution of Thunder Fruit, although there is nothing unusual in his body, Su Yu can clearly feel it and his attacks have increased a lot. Boom. In the center of the smoke and dust, a bright red light began to rotate, and in the next second, Earl Red rushed out directly. The future devil fruit of the Red Earl is in the form of Zone Bat Fruit U Demon's Vampire. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Even if devil fruit is removed, his swordsmanship and physical skills are now very superb. Swish. I saw him in the air, waving the umbrella in his hand, and suddenly, several light blades rushed towards Su Yu. Thunder blade. Su Yu flicked his fingers, and the lightning flew away like a light beam, hitting the light blade in diameter. Boom. The attacks of the two parties exploded directly in the sky. With them as the center, a powerful air current was generated in an instant. At the same time, the other side. Wu Luki, Senju Hashirama, Aizen, and Jiraiya, carrying a lot of food. Dude, don't you know how to fly? I see in the food list, we have only 1/5 of these in our hands. If the tornado guy also comes, we can collect them all at once. Wu Luki sighed heavily. There is a lot of time, so I'm not in a hurry at this time, and even if we all moved back, we have nothing to do on the boat. Aizen said lightly. That's not to blame you for losing to him last night. Jiraiya glanced at Wu Luki. That guy said one can't play, but he was more fierce than anyone else. Alas, I seem to be younger. Wu Luki's face was full of helpless expressions. Stop complaining. Let's go quickly. Suyu said that he will start traveling in the afternoon. Senju Hashirama calmly said. Suddenly, Jiraiya's inspiration flashed, as if thinking of something. By the way, first generation, don't we know how to clone technique? Quote. Good fellow, don't you know how to use clone technique? Wu Luki murmured. Ha 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 ha. Senju Hashirama laughed loudly. He didn't think much about chatting before, and when he bought it, Wu Luki didn't say that the collection hadn't been completed yet. You can't take it to us. You didn't tell me when I bought it there just now. Now you said that you bought 1/5 after half the journey. Senju Hashirama had an innocent expression on his face. Well, I was sloppy. But it's not too late now. Wu Luki leaked a weird smile. All right, Senju Hashirama said, putting the food in his hands on the ground, and then folded his hands together. Wood-style multiple wood clone technique. As the voice fell, pieces of wooden objects began to protrude from Senju Hashirama's body. Then it shot out instantly, and in the blink of an eye, dozens of Senju Hashirama appeared around him. When Wu Luki saw so many Senju Hashirama, his eyes flashed. Hashirama, this move is okay, how can it be passed on? If you want to learn this, you have to have wood style. If it's useless, you can learn shadow clone technique. Senju Hashirama reminded. Wood style. I remember that guy Su you told me that I wanted to engage that giant to come and see, you should know that it is the wood giant. Wu Luki asked. Senju Hashirama nodded, then lifted the food on the ground, and exhorted. Okay, let's go on, you give them the list and the money, and they will bring the food back to the boat. As soon as this was said, the surrounding ground suddenly vibrated 3.6, and at the same time a huge explosion sounded. Everyone heard the reputation, and suddenly their faces became a little solidified. That direction, isn't it where we stop the boat? Shouldn't it? There should be something wrong, let's go back quickly. No way, come to live again. Go away, Aizen in the front urges the people behind. Wu Luki and they began to speed up. As for the wood clone of Senju Hashirama, it is still to buy food that is not on the list. Chapter 120. On Su Yu's side, he was fighting fiercely with Earl Hong. It's not a loss that in the future, alone, you can be as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. The strength is really not covered. However, this guy is still really low-key. They have never heard of the Red Earl before in New World Su Yu. Due to the fierce battle, the tornado keeps the ship floating, and if the ship falls into the sea, it is likely to be affected by the aftermath of the battle. There was a saying, it was the first time that Wong saw this kind of battle. Hey, do we really need to go and help? Wong also cast his gaze on Tornado and Ram. Ram and Tornado didn't seem too worried. Don't worry, Su Yu should be able to do it. Even if it is really not done, it is not too late for us to shoot at that time. Ram said lightly. Just in case. What if he is killed suddenly? Wang Yi said with some worry. 12 inches suddenly killed. How could that guy die so easily? Tornado couldn't help laughing. Yeah, Su Yu is not as weak as you think, but he is very strong. Ram also said. Wang also frowned. He had nothing to say. They weren't worried, and there was no reason to worry. Boom. The battle went from the coast to the forest on the other side. Neither of them has the disadvantage, basically they are like 50 to 50. However, strictly speaking, Su Yu has a greater advantage here, because from the previous battle, he used only Thor's ability. Yu Huo's ability has not been used since the moment the battle started. Of course, there are the Ghost Blood family that inherits Lem, Aizen's Keto, Hashirama's Wood Style and Sage Mode. It deserves to be the giant pirate group called the New World by the world government. The strength is really strong. Red Earl smiled evilly and said. You are not bad either. However, I can see that you rely too much on Devil Fruit's abilities. If it weren't for the power your Devil Fruit gave you, in terms of physical skills, you would never be able to match me. So, I suggest that you can't fall behind in physical skills. If your physical skills can match my physical skills, I believe that with your Devil Fruit ability, I'm really a bit tricky. Said. Su Yu heard the words and just wanted to say something, suddenly there was a voice not far away. Su Yu, what's going on? Su Yu heard the fame and said it was Senju Hashirama who came back from the town. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As this marine, Wu Luki also asked aloud. No, he is a pirate, has your mission been completed? Su Yu asked rhetorically. It's almost there. It will probably not be long before all the supplies can be shipped back to the ship. Senju Hashirama replied. Need help? Aizen also asked. Su Yu grinned. No need, I will speed it up. After that, his gaze returned to Earl Red again. Sure enough, they are exactly the same as the wanted warrants I have seen before. They are your most powerful left and right arms. Red Earl said with a smile. I'm afraid it doesn't matter to you, right? The warm-up session is over, and the next formality begins. Su Yu said lightly, and a pair of horns began to grow on his forehead. The Earl Red who saw this scene was slightly surprised, but he didn't care too much. Boom. In an instant, Su Yu disappeared directly in place. Earl Hong tensed up on the spot, because this time, he could clearly feel that Su Yu's speed was faster than before. On top, Red Earl murmured and looked up quickly. Emperor Yan. As the voice fell, above the midair, a huge blue fireball appeared out of thin air, and then fell directly. Red Earl frowned suddenly. What's the matter? Isn't this guy's devil fruit related to thunder and lightning? Why is it using the power of fire now? After realizing the bad news, Earl Red wanted to escape quickly, and suddenly, on the ground, several huge tree roots directly entangled him. What the hell is this? While speaking, he cast his gaze in Aizen's direction. Could it be they? Drink. He hurriedly threw his fist and smashed the roots of the tree. At the same time, the huge blue fireball fell. Immediately afterwards, there was a huge explosion. The flames swallowed the surroundings at an extremely fast speed. The ground vibrated, and the airflow from the explosion spread in all directions. Let's get back to the ship as soon as possible. The food 610 items in the hands of the province have been affected. Senju Hashirama suggested. I think so too. After everyone agreed, they quickly ran towards the floating ship in the sky. The ship floating in the air also began to shake due to the air currents generated by the explosion. After a while, Su Yu fell to the ground. The smoke and dust also slowly dispersed into the big pit. Count Red stood, covered in blood. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. I was almost killed by you. Earl Red seemed to smile but not to laugh, but to cry but not to cry. Earl Hong did not fall, but Su Yu expected him. After all, his qualifications were not worse than Roger and Whitebeard. Next, you have to pay attention, because my physical skills, no, it should be said that they are physical skills, which will surprise you. Su Yu said, and put his hands together. Around the eyes, red lines suddenly appeared. Obviously, Su Yu at this moment has entered Sage mode. Chapter 121. Earl Hong looked at Su Yu carefully, although he didn't know what he did, why red lines appeared around his eye sockets. But his instinct told him that this guy's basic strength must be stronger than before. This time he was not as careless as last time, looking at Su Yu attentively, wanting to see what he was going to do. Rem's Ghost Blood ability is a sharp increase in physical ability, and Sage Mode's ability is similar, combining the two, plus Su Yu's original physical skills. Now, whether it is physical skills or the power of Devil Fruit, it is far surpassed by Red Earl. After waiting for a while, Su Yu didn't make a move, and Earl Hong couldn't bear it anymore. Instead of waiting for Su Yu to make a move, he might as well take the initiative first. I saw a red light suddenly released from Earl Hong's body. The next moment, with a flash, he disappeared in place instantly. In the next second, he instantly came to Su Yu's face, waved the umbrella in his hand and poked it directly. What he never expected was that Su Yu directly supported the umbrella he waved with his hand. With the help of the strength of his umbrella, the whole person was directly raised, and he went up and gave him a kick. A seemingly ordinary kick, however, made Earl Hong loose his umbrella and flew out upside down. Constantly rubbing on the ground, and finally grabbing the ground with your hands to cushion the impact. Back to you. Just after getting over, his umbrella was directly thrown by Su Yu, shooting it like a sharp arrow. Red Earl hurriedly flipped in a backflip, and the umbrella was directly inserted on the ground. Immediately afterwards, his face became a little pale, and beads of sweat appeared on his cheeks. Sure enough, this guy has become stronger again. What kind of trick is this that can actually increase a person's basic strength to this level? Undoubtedly, Su Yu is the strangest opponent that Red Earl has encountered over the years. It doesn't matter if Devil Fruit has several abilities, especially, there are even tricks that can increase his basic strength. No wonder you dared to cross the Holy Land Mary Geoise directly. That guy is not fearless, but has enough self-confidence. Today's battle, Su Yu, you guys simply refreshed my understanding of the world. How did you do it? Earl Hong got up, walked slowly to the umbrella, and then the umbrella was pulled up from the ground. You want to know? I remember that for a while, it seemed that after you crossed the Holy Land Mary Geoise, the wanted order issued by the world government stated that it could only be caught alive. I am sure that what the world government wants to know is the secret I want to know. As for the word, catch alive, afterwards, it was after the slaughter order incident. I think that the world government has already felt it. They can't catch you alive at all, so I changed it again. Red Earl said decisively. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After all, it is strange that world government does not spy on this ability. If these moves can be used on Marine, it may be added to Marine 6 styles. In this way, Marine's overall strength will definitely get another stage of improvement. Hearing the words of Earl Hong, Su Yu sneered, and then said lightly, in this world, like me, there is no one else who can possess multiple Devil Fruit abilities and this kind of skill. Earl Hong's eyes flashed slightly, listening to Su Yu's words, he felt that Su Yu must have obtained a secret that no one in this world knew. I gave up. Can we stop the war? Red Earl sighed and said. In fact, his goal at first was to win Su Yu and let Su Yu become his members. There is no other malice in his heart. Even if he really wins today, if Su Yu is still unwilling, he will not use coercive means to demand. Su Yu was silent for a moment and said casually, is it an armistice? If you have treasure on board, I can think about it. Treasure. Is that there? But there is a devil fruit, but that is a useless fruit. If you want it, I will give it to you. Red Earl said lightly. Useless devil fruit. Yes. This is my trophy not long ago, named jacket fruit. Jacket fruit. Su-yu was taken aback for a moment, and fell into deep thought. Jacket fruit, a kind of devil fruit paramesha. Fruit ability, capable person can be attached to others after turning into a jacket. Whether the object is an animal or a monster, as long as it is worn, it will become a completely controlled object. If you think about it carefully, this fruit is really of little use. Okay, give it to me, just forget about it. Su-yu felt a little bit happy in his heart, and in short, it was still a profit. Of course, he definitely didn't use it for consumption, but exchanged it into a summon value. He remembered that devil fruit was quite worth the summon value. Quote. Diaresis, I have one condition, I want to know your secret. Secret. You traded a useless fruit for my secret, your abacus is a bit outrageous, right? Su-yu murmured. It really doesn't work, I can join your pirate group. I don't need any cadres. Be an ordinary member. Red Earl said. Quote. You are special, this abacus is even more outrageous. Okay, I'll tell you one of the secrets, which is that you can have multiple devil fruit abilities. Earl Red listened very well. In the world, there are individuals who can eat multiple devil fruits, such as me. Su-yu said lightly. What about me? Who knows, you'll know if you try, of course it's none of my business to die suddenly. Su-yu reminded. Count Hong frowned, the kings frowned, good fellow, what he said was the same as he didn't. Forget it, devil fruit is for you. I don't like this ability anyway. Red Earl said, turning around and just about to walk towards the beach. However, he found that his ship had sunk so badly. No. The ship sank. The Red Count turned his head and said in a deep voice. Fishing. I'm a land duck, you can't let me go down. Su-yu said. I'm going down to fish, changing a secret, I want to know how your physical skills can increase your basic strength in an instant. Red Earl said slowly. Stop talking, let's fight another fight. Chapter 122. Red Earl shifted his gaze from Su-yu to the direction where his ship sank in the sea. Sighed and said slowly, while possessing a strong strength, the strong should also specialize in their temperament. Don't fight and kill at every turn. Su-yu murmured. Come on, look at what you said, you just did it first. Let's talk after I catch devil fruit first. The previous article has been modified, Red Earl does not have the devil fruit ability at this time. As soon as the voice fell, Earl Hong jumped into the sea alone. Su-yu walked to the shore, sat on a small rock, and watched quietly. The people on Su-yu's boat were a little confused. What's going on? Suddenly stopped fighting? Wong asked with a surprised look. Everyone also shook their heads one after another, and they also looked confused. It is estimated that you are tired, let's take a break. Wu Luki guessed. Okay. You are opening your eyes and talking nonsense, Wu Luki, you think this is in the 613 game. Tornado teased. I don't think I should be able to fight. Jiraiya said lightly. Gotta gamble, Wu Luki proposed. What do you want to bet on? I'll bet with you. Tornado said towards Wu Luki. Just bet the next time you land on the island to replenish supplies. Whoever loses the bet, no matter who draws to replenish supplies next time, he will replace that person to replenish supplies. Wu Luki grinned. Okay, no problem. Tornado readily agreed. After all, he will have superpowers. Even if he loses, the problem is not too big and it will not take much time. Wu Luki, I will thank you first. Senju Hashirama said with a smile. No thanks, helping others is a pleasure, that's my hobby. Wu Luki said lightly. Don't misunderstand what he meant. Hashirama meant that you have successfully completed the next task of replenishing supplies. Aizen chuckled lightly. Quote. Wu Luki looked at Senju Hashirama with a dull gaze, giving you a look and letting him experience it for himself. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, everyone couldn't help laughing. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After a while, Earl Red successfully caught devil fruit and handed it to Su-yu. I don't take you for nothing. Su-yu folded his hands together. Bang. With a sound, a ship appeared out of thin air in Count Red's field of vision. This is. During the battle just now, your ship was affected. It should be regarded as a reward for devil fruit. Su-yu said calmly. Ha 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 ha. Earl Red didn't speak, but laughed evilly. Su-yu shook his head helplessly, took devil fruit, and turned and left. At the same time, naval headquarters. On the cloister. Da. The sound of crisp footsteps sounded. Sengoku, Garp is walking side by side. Oh, why are there so many things about the guy with steel bones? I still have tasks on my hands. I don't know what to do on the phone worm. I have to come here. Garp complained. I guess it should be a matter of world conscription. Sengoku said calmly. World conscription. This mission is not linked to us, right? What did that guy come to do with us? Garp looked at Sengoku with a puzzled look. I don't know yet, he didn't tell me clearly in the phone bug, Sengoku replied. Soon, the two opened a door. What greeted them was the steel-boned Kong they were familiar with, and a stranger who was about 40 years old. His whole body is tightly covered, and only the part above the nose is leaking out. Wearing white gloves on both hands, it is no exaggeration to say that the only skin leaking out of his whole body is only the part above the nose. Sengoku and Garp looked at the man a few times, then set their eyes on Gangukong's body. Steel, what's the important thing about calling us here this time? Garp asked first. Gangukong did not answer Garp's question, but said, first, let me introduce you. This is a civilian master who was recruited by the world conscription, Doro Moses. Your new task is to lead him to familiarize yourself with marine circumstances. When he returns, he will replace Zephyr. Sengoku and Garp were slightly startled, and they took the place of Zephyr. It clearly showed that this man named Moses was naturally very strong. Steel, I said such a small thing, so don't bother, let's run away personally, you can just tell us clearly in the phone bug. Garp yelled. I'm not doing this for you to get acquainted with as soon as possible, and your task is not very urgent, there is no shortage of time. Gang Gukong retorted. In the future, please give me some advice. Moses said calmly. His voice was very strong and seemed to have a majesty of his own. Garp and Sengoku nodded. It's such a hot day, you're so tightly wrapped, isn't it hot? Garp asked curiously. Moses smiled, then pulled off his clothes, and the next second, Sengoku and Garp's scalp tingling happened. From the upper body to the face, there are various large and small scars, some of which are hot with boiling water, and some parts are obviously recessed. What the hell did you go through? Garp frowned. Moses wrapped up his clothes again, and didn't seem to take it too seriously. The injuries on my body were left by the pirates a long time ago. The clothes are so tightly dressed, that's just for fear of scaring you. Sengoku was not talking to Garp. Indeed, it was the first time that they saw scars all over the body like Moses. Well, you hurry up and perform the task at hand, let Moses get familiar with it. Steel Sky's path. Understood. After all, the three slowly walked out. Chapter 123. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. New world, an island. Tick 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 tick. The sky was covered with dark clouds, and the thunder and lightning flashed without rhythm. The rainstorm washed the ground, and the wind howled. The corpses on the ground, the blood flowing out, stained with rain, flowed down the stairs. Yes, this riot was led by Locks. Captain Locks, I have done it over there. Golden Lion grinned. I didn't keep the one over there. The treasures were all sent back to the ship. Kaido also said. Okay, very good. Locks nodded in satisfaction. Suddenly at this moment, Tatata, a short man trampled on the rain, ran desperately, and came to Locks. There is news, there is news. The short man muttered, panting. Locks heard the words and looked at him suspiciously. What news? The news of the three ancient weapons. The man continued. What? Upon hearing the three ancient weapons, Kaido and Golden Lion instantly cast their eyes on the man. Where? Locks asked anxiously. What I got is the whereabouts of Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, but I can't guarantee that the news is correct. The short man reminded him. Let's talk about it. It is said that Uranus, the king of heaven, is hiding on an island called the Valley of the Gods. Valley of Gods. Yes, but I don't know if it is true or not. The short man continued. Whether it's true or false, we'll know if we go to see it. Let everyone evacuate this island and go to the Valley of Gods. Locks exclaimed excitedly. Although I don't know whether this information is true or false, at least there is a clue, and it is still something to be happy about. Wait, Captain Locks, the short man said again. What? Any other news? Locks asked. The Valley of Gods is a relatively special island. If there is no pointer to the Valley of Gods, we can't find that island. The little man said. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at him with a little dull gaze. The atmosphere instantly became a little weird. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The little man looked at Locks a little at a loss, and then at the others. Boy, it seems like you didn't say it for a long time. Kaido lifted it up with one hand and said coldly. I have a way, the short man said quickly. Hearing this, Locks said at this moment, Kaido, let him down. Kaido let go of him with one hand, and the short man fell directly to the ground, wiped the rain off his face, and continued. I'm dissatisfied with you, I once picked up a celestial dragons in Chambord Islands and threw it away. The map, but I lost it after just a glance, and I don't remember the exact location. What do you mean? The marine map is likely to show the location of the Valley of Gods. Locks asked. The short man nodded. It's very likely. You have to believe me, Captain Locks. Locks was silent for a while, and then said, Chambord Islands, right. Kaido, you led a group of people, go on missions with him, go to the Chambord Islands, intercept those celestial dragons that go out, or have ships related to the world government. I see, Captain Locks. This time, don't let me down. Locks exclaimed. Indeed, Kaido has failed many times in the task assigned to Kaido. This time, if it still fails, Locks will really go crazy. This time, I won't let you down. Ding dong, this item can be exchanged for 50,000 summon value, are you sure to exchange it? In Su Yu's mind, the sound of the system's improvement sounded. 50,000. Su Yu fell into deep thought when he heard the words. He remembered that there was no such valuable one before. Could it be that this devil fruit has any other special features? Although there were doubts in his mind, Su Yu also asked more. Anyway, it was a good thing for him. Determine. Ding dong, the exchange is successful. With the system's prompt sound falling, Su Yu quickly opened his property panel. Host. Su Yu. Summon. Aizen 45%, Rem 45%, Hashirama 50%, Wuluki 25%, Jiraiya 25%, Tornado 20%, Wangyi 20%. Find flowers. Summoning character legacy. Hito Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode, Hashirama. Summoning value. 90,000 100,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Under Fire 1800 2000 Thor 436 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate 1900 2000 Observation Hockey 1900 2000 Conquerors Hockey 750 2000. Warehouse. None. Task. Summon 8 crew members 7/8. Scanning his attribute panel, Su Yu whispered, "It's only 10,000 short of summoning new members, and the task is about to be completed." Su Yu hurriedly got up, came to the place where he put the treasure, opened the box, and exchanged all the treasures inside. He is not afraid that there will be no money for going to the island in the future. Anyway, they are pirates. Under normal circumstances, they will usually pay for things. If there is no money, then there is no way. Take things as they are. However, even if they were all redeemed, the summon value still showed 90,000. Damn, I have obsessive-compulsive disorder. If you are less, I might not care so much, but it's about 100,000, so I can't put it aside. Next, Su Yu collected the gold coins previously given to all members, and they collected them back before they used them up. After the exchange, it showed 100,000, but when it was summoned, it did not show enough, and Su Yu split on the spot. Failed. The system. It's enough for 100,000, why can't it be summoned? Su Yu asked curiously. Ding dong, answer host, due to the change of units, the system now uses rounding, but in fact your summon value is not enough. How bad is it? 99,982 100,000. Quote. Good guy, now that there is no gold coin on the ship, it is almost 18 points of summon value, which is simply killing Su Yu. Chapter 124. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. A helpless glance at the attributes in front of him, Su Yu sighed lightly, closed the attribute panel, and then lay on the bed. I don't know if it's something wrong, Su Yu seems to always hear, I'm almost 18 points of summoning. After a few minutes, Su Yu finally couldn't stand it and got up directly. Take off the clothes on the upper body. Exchange. Ding dong, please don't exchange garbage with host. Su Yu was not reconciled, and then on the boat, put his hands on the bed. Exchange. Ding dong, please don't exchange garbage with host. No way. Su Yu had to go out if the things in his room could not be exchanged. When I saw something more valuable, I let it go and exchanged it. However, obviously, it is the same sentence, please don't exchange rubbish for host. Good guy, isn't there a thing on my ship that can meet the standard for redeeming summon value? Su Yu complained while looking for a new target. Soon, he came to the lower deck of the ship. This floor is basically where some equipment is installed. For example, some cannons are hidden here when they are not activated. Once activated, the window will open and the gun barrel will extend. Looking at these brand new cannons, Su Yu's smile gradually became ugly. He walked over and put his hand on the cannon. Exchange. Ding dong, congratulations on the successful exchange of host, and got 3 summon value. Su Yu's smile became even more hideous when he heard the sound of the redemption success. Exchange. Exchange. He directly exchanged 6 cannons in one go, and finally made up enough summoning value of 100,000. After scanning the surroundings, looking at the few cannons left, Su Yu murmured. Special meow, if it's not enough, the cannon will be gone. Next, Su Yu didn't bother to go up and summon directly here. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Start calling. Ding dong, calling. Summon success. Congratulations to host for getting from the Big Sword World, Denisha. As usual, when the sound of the system fell, a bunch of light particles appeared, and then these light particles gathered together and finally slowly transformed into a human form. Then from the virtual body, the blink of an eye, it transforms into an entity. Denisha, Su Yu said, lost in thought. Although he has watched many animes, it does not mean that he has watched all animes in the world. It just so happens that this time Denisha Su Yu from the world of Big Sword doesn't know anything about her. While thinking, a tall, baby-faced woman appeared in Su Yu's field of vision, wearing a battle armor, carrying a giant sword behind her back, and having long flowing brown hair. In this way, Denisha stared at Su Yu intently. Yes, she hasn't been relieved yet, because everything that happened just now was too incredible for her. Su Yu didn't understand the world of Great Sword, and his knowledge of Denisha was almost zero. The two looked at each other for nearly a minute. Su Yu took the lead and said, "Welcome to Pirate World." Pirate World. After hearing this, Denisha blinked her eyes and continued, "I haven't heard, what is going on here? If you ask me like this, I don't know what's going on. Because I also don't belong to this world. In short, we are all lucky ones." Su Yu explained sloppily. Lucky guy, it seems a bit early to make this conclusion. Su Yu smiled slightly. No matter what you think, I really like this world anyway. The world that Su Yu once lived in was too boring and boring. He repeated the same life almost every day. Those who were born in a rich family just enjoyed life. And Su Yu was born in that kind of ordinary family, tusk, thinking about how to survive every day. When I came to this pirate world, I not only gained cool abilities, but also reduced my troubles a lot. That means, I can't go back. Probably. Denisha smiled and sighed, and said lightly, "It's okay, such an ugly world, don't go back." "Do you know who I am?" Su Yu asked. The reason for asking this is because Su Yu feels that the person summoned this time is a bit different. Denisha nodded. "I know, during the process of coming here, a voice told me." Hearing that, it doesn't seem to be different, but a personal character issue. "Even if I know it, I won't say much. Are there any demons in this world?" Denisha asked again. "Demon. There is no such thing, but I don't know how you define the so-called monster." Su Yu said calmly. "Okay." Lisa thought for a few seconds, and then replied, "Probably it is a creature that destroys the living space of mankind. That shouldn't be there, but there is something called devil fruit in this world, which can transform humans into animal forms and animals into human forms." 3.6. However, after the change, he is still him, it is still it. Su Yu replied. "As that's so, okay, it's useless to say too much. You will understand it slowly in the future. Let me show you the other partners first," Su Yu said, turning around and walking around. Denisha chased up with a small step. "Apart from me and you, are there anyone else?" "Yes, they are the same as you and me, from different worlds," Su Yu replied. Chapter 125. It sounds incredible. If it weren't for my personal experience, I'm afraid I wouldn't believe this kind of thing at all. Denisha took a breath and tried to calm her mood. Although she is a strong person, it is normal to be uneasy when encountering such things that are completely beyond her knowledge. A lot of things you didn't expect, doesn't mean there are none. Su Yu said calmly. Correct. Suddenly, Denisha seemed to think of something, and then asked, "That is the voice that appeared in my brain before I came here yours?" Su Yu shook his head. "Isn't it? Is it because it invaded the brain?" "Don't think too much about it, that voice will only appear once, and its purpose is to tell you some basic conditions of the world." Su Yu patiently explained. It turned out to be like this. Walking up from the lower deck of the ship, the surrounding light was obviously brighter. When we walked to the hall, some people were playing cards, and the rest were watching them. When everyone saw Su Yu with a 12-pin tall woman behind her, her face was not too surprised, she seemed to be used to it. In their eyes, Su Yu brought a stranger with him, which signaled that a new member of the ship had arrived. After all, it has always been like this before. This woman looks amazing. Wu Luki glanced at it and whispered. "Well, yes, I can feel it too," Senju Hashirama calmly said. "She is really beautiful, and she has a great body," Ram also said. "Indeed, it's beautiful," Jiraiya whispered. Tornado looked at Denisha's height, and then at her own. She chose to be silent, and the people on the side waited to beat herself. Aizen lay on the rocking chair and read a book. After a glance, Aizen didn't have much interest. Then he turned his attention to the book. Su Yu glanced at everyone present, and all the members happened to be here. "I don't think I need to say that you all already know." Su Yu smiled slightly. "Well, everyone had guessed the moment she came out," Lem said. "Basically it is like this. You brought it out of thin air. Besides being a new member, who else can it be?" Senju Hashirama said lightly. "It seems so, ha ha ha." Su Yu laughed. "Seriously, this figure, I am envious." Ram glanced around, and there was all envy in his eyes. "Okay, don't say some of these are gone, let's introduce them individually," Su Yu exhorted. "Okay, my name is Lem. My name is Ram. You two are twins?" Denisha asked. "Yes, although the hair color is different, it's almost the same everywhere else," Ram replied. "My name is Wu Luki. Jiraiya." Soon, the introduction session was over. "Come on, Denisha, you can talk to them first to improve the relationship. I still have something to deal with." Su Yu left a word and turned and left. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yes, the number of his summoning tasks has been reached, and the reward has not yet been received. He has to go over and see what kind of reward he can get this time. Back to his room, Su Yu quickly began to accept the award. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for completing the task, whether to receive the reward immediately. Get it right now. Ding dong, congratulations to host for getting 60,000 summon points. Ding dong, congratulations to host for obtaining the Swordsmanship Experience Pack X1 Advanced. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for obtaining an awakening card used to awaken some of its own abilities. With the sound of the system falling, Su Yu's attribute panel popped up. Host. Su Yu. Summon. Aizen 45%, Reem 45%, Hashirama 50%, Wu Luki 25%, Jiraiya 25%, Tornado 20%, Wang Yi 20%, Denisha 20%. Summoning character legacy. Hito Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode, Hashirama. Summoning value. 60,140,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Underfire 1800 2000 Thor 436 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate 1900 2000 Observation Hockey 1900 2000 Conquerors Hockey 750 2000. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1 Swordsmanship Experience Pack X1 Advanced. Task. Summon 8 crew members 8/12. Getting 60,000 summon points, it's pretty cool. At this point, he looked at the Swordsmanship Experience package again. Any new item? It looks pretty good. Soon Su Yu will use the Swordsmanship Experience pack. In the next second, a new memory was slowly pouring into his mind. Yes, these new memories are exactly the skills of various swordsmanship. However, at this moment, there was a sudden explosion outside. Su Yu was taken aback for a moment, using observation hockey to perceive. When he saw that it was a pirate ship, he accepted the memory with peace of mind. At this time, Senju Hashirama and the others had already met the enemy outside. It seems to be a pirate group. I thought it was the marine guys again. Jiraiya glanced, then retracted his gaze. Rem, do you know what pirate group it is? Senju Hashirama asked. I don't know, I haven't seen that pattern. Rem replied. On the other side of the pirate boat. Sure enough, it is the super-dimensional pirate group. As long as we can destroy him, the reputation of our pirate group will definitely be famous in the sea. The captain laughed. Captain, I see goodbye, their captain is a pirate who offers a bounty of more than 1 billion yuan. The deputy captain spoke out to discourage. Believe me, brother, I have a way. The pirate group that offered a reward of 400 million yuan was killed by us last time. The captain sneered. But this time it's different, Su Yu is over 1 billion yuan. The deputy captain said in a deep voice. 613. The first shot has already fired, and we have no retreat. On the pirate ship, he was still too confident in his own power. Let me solve them. Tornado just wanted to use his superpowers. Wu Luki quickly said. Wait, we still have tricks. Trick. Tornado glanced at him curiously. You mean the cannon? That's right, none of our cannons have been used yet, so we can just try the power this time. Wu Luki suggested. Alright, let's see how powerful it is. After all, Wu Luki quickly walked to get started. Boom, shoo. Don't get me wrong, this is not a shell fired from Su Yu's ship, but from a local ship. The tornado waved his hand directly, a faint green light emerged, and then the shell stopped instantly and flew back. How powerful is it? Wu Luki asked. If you want to ask how powerful it is, you are firing a gun. Tornado vomited. I'm driving. Is it a malfunction? Wu Luki retorted. Senju Hashirama poked his head out. The window of the cannon was opened, but the barrel was not seen sticking out. It should be a malfunction. Senju Hashirama replied. Chapter 126. After hearing the fault, Wu Luki frowned and vomited. What a broken cannon, is marine stuff so bad? As he said, he desperately pressed the start button of other muzzles. Boom. Suddenly, at this moment, shells were fired from the windows where the cannon shaft extended. Wu Luki, there are no problems with the several muzzles that the cannon sticks out. You can go down and check it. Just leave it to us here. Senju Hashirama yelled. Okay. Wu Luki replied, then left the control room and quickly went to the last floor under the ship. Let me try it. At this moment, Denisha took the initiative to speak out. Are you sure? Lem asked. After all, they still don't know the specific strength of Denisha. Yeah, if you don't have a certain degree of certainty, don't try to be aggressive. Ram also reminded him. I don't think there is any problem. My instinct tells me that our new member is very good. Senju Hashirama said. In that case, it's nothing to do with me, so I'll catch the fish. Wang also said from the side. Ram, you guys go back too, I and Denisha will do it here. Senju Hashirama said towards Rem. Lem nodded with Ram, and then asked. You be careful, if you can't beat it, remember to call someone. Don't worry, we can beat it. Hearing this, Lame and his party left. Then I will go. Dinasa took the great sword on her back in her hand. Be careful. Okay. Dinasa nodded, and then jumped forward, rushing towards the enemy ship at a very fast speed. Tip. Denisha landed in front of the enemy's ship. When everyone saw this scene, they shouted. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boss, their people are here. How to do. This woman looks very strong. Her eyes are terrible. As everyone said, they took a few steps back. Do I have eyes? Need you to say. The captain cursed. This guy seems a little strange. It doesn't seem to be a member of the Super Dimension pirate group. The deputy captain said. Real or fake? Well, I haven't seen her on the wanted list. However, I just saw that the other people on the ship seem to be a little far away. I'm not sure if it is, but it feels a bit like it. Hearing this, the captain was silent for a few seconds. I see, these guys are doing things with the Super Dimensional pirate group. Maybe it's to be more realistic. Others also act as members of the Super Dimensional pirate group. The captain grinned and sneered, his expression gradually becoming wild. He was a little worried before, but now that he knew it was a fake, he instantly felt that he could do it again. Smelly woman, you almost bluffed me. The captain cursed at Denisha. Dinasa's eyes flashed, her eyes released a murderous intent. In the next second, I saw the giant sword waved, and the whole person disappeared instantly. Swish. Among the lightning and flint, everyone fell down one after another, followed by Denisha directly in front of the captain, brandishing the huge sword and slashing directly. The captain quickly covered armament hockey with his hands, and he wanted to do it hard. Boom. After the great sword fell, the deck under his feet split instantly, and the whole person plunged into it in the next second. At the same time, Wu Luki walked out of the ship, yelling, I'm going, what's the problem with this? Senju Hashirama was taken aback, isn't it? Of course not, but most of our cannons were stolen by someone who didn't know. This guy is too ruthless. Tell me what's not good about stealing, what's the purpose of stealing this stuff? Wu Luki said. Quote. Diaresis, could it be that we were stolen while we were resting on the island? Shouldn't it? We all took turns to watch the boat. Senju Hashirama was lost in thought. Forget it, it doesn't matter, what you don't see is not very important anyway. By the way, what's the situation over there? Wu Luki asked, changing the subject. Senju Hashirama shifted his gaze from Wu Luki to the boat not far away, and said, it's like this now. Her strength is the same as we guessed. She is very tyrannical. I just took a look. She has very superb swordsmanship. Very good, we don't need to do it. Inside the room. The feeling of discomfort brought by receiving new memories to Suyu disappeared at this moment. Call. He exhaled heavily, and the original feeling of being burdened disappeared at this Wangdahao moment. Is this an advanced swordsmanship experience pack? It feels too surprising, Suyu murmured, then walked to the table and picked up the hanging sword. In an instant, he felt that he had swung this long sword countless times. This feeling is so wonderful. Muttering, suddenly, he remembered something. By the way, there are enemies, so you can just try it. After all, he held a long sword in his hand and rushed out directly. Chapter 127. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. However, when he resisted the ship, he only saw the wreckage of a ship not far away still burning. Denisha walked into the ship side by side with Wu Luki and Senju Hashirama. What are you going to do? Wu Luki watched Suyu suddenly rushed out, holding a long sword in his hand, and asked in surprise. As if thinking of something, he glanced back and continued, couldn't you want to participate in the battle? It's a pity that Dinasa took the shot and was overpowered in a short while. Hearing that, Suyu hung the long sword back to his waist, and originally wanted to try his own swordsmanship, but unfortunately, there was no chance. Our new member is very strong. I thought it would take a while, but I didn't expect it to be done so quickly. Senju Hashirama also praised it. When Denisha heard this, she only replied faintly, it's just that they are weak. It doesn't matter whether it is strong or weak, it's over, I went back to sleep. Suyu said softly, then turned around. Suddenly, at this moment, Wu Luki spoke again. By the way, Suyu, when we were on the island, a thief came in the boat. A thief is here. Impossible, most of me are on the boat. If there is a thief, how could I not find it? Suyu retorted. 617 inches really, but the thief is very strange, a valuable cloth head, and stole our cannon. If I just wanted to test the power of the cannonball, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to find it. Wu Luki swears. Quote. Suyu heard Wu Luki's words and suddenly remembered that he had exchanged some cannons for exchange value because the summon value was not enough. Ahem. It sounds like damn it. But, let's lose it, we don't need that thing on the boat. Suyu said solemnly. It makes sense. It was just a whim just now. Wu Luki smiled, and didn't care too much about the missing cannon. I'll slip away first. Wait, Suyu. Suyu just wanted to leave when Dinasa on the side suddenly spoke. What's wrong? Suyu looked at her suspiciously. I want to compare with you to test how strong I am in this world. Dinasa blinked at Suyu. When the words fell, Suyu fell into deep thought. This was also a good opportunity because he also just wanted to test his sword skills. Seeing Suyu's delay in answering, Denisha said again, although I know this is ridiculous, but, please. Then it's up to you. Soon, a large, wooden ring was completed, and learned from the first experience. This time, no rope was used to tie the boat. Instead, use the root of the tree directly. Of course, under normal circumstances, the rope may be stronger than the root of the tree, but it is different here. The root created by Suyu is very tough. As long as it is not deliberately attacked, there is basically no problem. Hello, everyone, let's take a gamble. Wu Luki suggested. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I know what you want to bet on, so you can give up. The next time you land on the island, you will collect the materials. Kaido Tornado. If you think about it, it's hard to see our captain Suyu discussing with the crew. If we don't bet anything, isn't it a waste of the performance that Suyu brings us? Wu Luki said plausibly. If it wasn't for a long time, I would really believe you. Senju Hashirama retorted. Hey, you are so boring. At the same time, Denisha held the huge sword in both hands and said to Suyu not far away, are you ready? Suyu drew a long sword from his waist and threw the scabbard on the ground. Bring it on. Accompanied by Suyu's voice fell. Denisha brandished her huge sword and quickly ran towards Suyu. A jet of black gas instantly enveloped the long sword in Suyu's hand. Obviously, it was Suyu who covered the long sword with armament haki. Suyu's sword is not a famous sword, it is just an ordinary long sword with limited toughness, so it is suitable to be covered with armament haki. Swish. Although the great sword is big, it is very agile in Dinasa's hands. Dang dang dang. Suyu also constantly waved the long sword in his hand to defend. Through a simple fight, Suyu can also be sure that the world where Dinasa is in is also very powerful. Drink. Denisha leapt and swung her great sword to cut down. When, accompanied by a crisp sound, an air current was generated with the two of them as the center, and the ring floating on the sea began to shake. The splashing sea water hit the edge of the ring. Very strong. Suyu grinned. You too. After Denisha said, she immediately retracted the giant sword. leaped back, and after landing, she attacked again. This time, her speed increased even more. Boom. Su Yu kept backing while defending. On the ring, a series of sword marks emerged, and some of the deeper ones could directly see the sea. In the world where she lives, Denisha is the number 182 warrior in the 77th period, ranking number 1, and has the title of the strongest in history. Undoubtedly, her physique and swordsmanship are very superb. At first, Su Yu planned to test, but now this situation, it is estimated that the ring has been destroyed before being tested. At this moment, Su Yu stopped directly, not backing up, and the movements on his hands also picked up quickly. Denis's pupils shrank, she immediately noticed something was wrong, and leapt back quickly. Sword skill sword shadow. Su Yu brandished a long sword, and then slashed. Suddenly, a blue light blade flew directly towards Denisha. Wherever he went, the ring broke open directly. If you play like this, I feel that the ring won't last for a minute. Wang also said. Well, this new member is really strong, and I can see that he has very rich combat experience. It's still too difficult to compete in this kind of place, and the surrounding environment simply doesn't allow it. Chapter 128. Sure enough, within a minute or so, the ring could no longer stand it. In this way, the battle between Denisha and Su Yu ended temporarily. Standing on the wreckage of the ring, Su Yu said, how about it, do you want to continue? If you want to continue, then I'm creating an arena. Forget it, that's it for this time, wait for a chance to compete in the future. Denisha said lightly. Through the battle just now, Denisha felt that she probably knew Su Yu's strength. But that's just Denisha's feeling. The reality is that not only did Su Yu not use other abilities just now, even the swordsmanship has not yet been fully developed. After all, the ring did not allow him to do this, otherwise the ring would be broken as soon as the fight started. Of course, Denisha didn't use all her strength, she was always tentatively inquiring about Su Yu's strength. Also, as soon as the voice fell, Su Yu picked up the scabbard next to him, then put the long sword in, followed by a jump, and jumped onto the boat. In a blink of an eye, 7 days have passed. Denisha is also familiar with the situation here. Her personality is a bit cold, and she usually doesn't speak much. In many cases, she is reading or training. However, she often came to talk to Su Yu, but instead of chatting, she talked about exercises or other world issues. It's time for dinner. Senju Hashirama brought back a stack of newspapers from outside. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It seems that something happened to the world government recently. Senju Hashirama scanned the newspaper and said. Something happened to the world government again. Isn't this a good thing? Jiraiya smiled. It's normal, after all, there are so many enemies. Show me one, Su Yu said. Senju Hashirama nodded, then pulled out a newspaper and handed it to Su Yu. After taking it, Su Yu glanced. The Rock's pirate Kadri Kaido attacked a world government ship in the Chambord Islands. Su Yu looked at the title and muttered, but he was a little curious about how the guy Kaido went to Chambord. Assault the ships of the world government. Going all the way back to the Chambord Islands, what is the purpose of Kaido? Senju Hashirama said in surprise. Is Kaido going to climb the Holy Land Mary Geoise alone? Rem also guessed. Impossible. If there is a disturbance, it is estimated that the entire Rock's pirate will be mobilized. Senju Hashirama analyzed. Su Yu continued to read the content, and after scanning it roughly, he put down the newspaper. I didn't go to the Holy Land Mary Geoise to make trouble, but in about 5 or 6 days, I attacked the ships of the world government 3 times and finally escaped. Find flowers. I attacked the world government ship 3 times in 5 or 6 days. Let me go. Is Kaido looking for excitement? Wu Luki sneered. I don't know if the sting is irritating, but I'm sure that Kaido's attack on the ships of the world government this time must have some purpose. Su Yu said, lost in thought. For a while, Su Yu really couldn't figure out what Kaido's purpose was for doing this. Why attack the world government ship instead of the marine ship? Is Kaido afraid? Obviously not. The result is obvious. The world government ship has the information Kaido wants. Then attacked 3 times in 5 or 6 days, and finally escaped. It is estimated that the first time and the second time he didn't find what he wanted. The last time he found it and ran away. Of course, it is possible that Marine was about to come over and surround him when he flees later. Aizen slowed down, said. After hearing this, everyone nodded. It seems that it sounds reasonable. Strong, it's been analyzed by you. Jiraiya praised. No matter what his purpose is, just don't come to disturb us anyway. Su Yu said lightly. Chapter 129. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Holy Land Mary Geoise. The Void Throne stands high on the solemn hall, with red and yellow colors, solemn and sacred, with swords and sabers in front of it. And sitting on the Void Throne is the leader of celestial dragons, the master behind the world government, and the owner of the Void Throne, I'm. She propped her head with one hand and looked down quietly, as if waiting for something, but after a while, she closed her eyes. Boom boom boom. After a while, there was a crisp sound of footsteps in the hall. There were 5 people who came. Yes, they were 5 elders. 5 elders, come and see you, Lord Yim. With that, they knelt on one knee almost at the same time. Hearing the sound, Aizen opened his eyes, and his deep pupils scanned the 5 old stars who were kneeling on one knee. I think, don't need me to say, you all should know, I summoned your purpose. Aizen said coldly. Yes, Lord Yim. Recently, the sea area of New World is really not very peaceful, but we will settle it as soon as possible. Another man said solemnly. That's right, we still need some time to deal with these things. The man in the middle also said. A few days ago, Kaido attacked the ships of the world government several times. Celestial Dragons was killed, one injured, one wounded. Have you caught him? Although Aizen didn't speak loudly, his voice lingered throughout the hall. I'm sorry, Yi Yim, let him run away, but even though we let him run away, we got a very important news. The man in the middle continued to speak. Say, according to the information from Marine, the Kaido guy attacked the ships of the world government and plundered 2 things. One of them is a pointer to the Valley of the Gods, and there is a map marked with the Valley of the Gods, so we also use their purpose to go to the Valley of the Gods. As soon as these words came out, Yimu, who was originally sitting on the void throne, was fairly calm, but after hearing these words, she got up. Rox wants to go to the Valley of Gods. I think, it should be. This time Kaido attacked the world government ship. It should have been sent by Lox. The purpose is to get the pointer and the map. The Valley of the Gods has. Presumptuous. Yim's voice interrupted one of the men's words. Never let Lox land in the Valley of Gods. Yim gave the order. We understand, Lord Yim. Yim picked up 2 wanted warrants on the side and threw them away. The wanted warrants fluttered irregularly. Call out. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A long sword flew over, stuck in the middle of the wanted warrant, and landed on the ground in front of 5 elders. This is. 5 elders looked at Aim suspiciously. Let them disappear on the trajectory of history. 5 elders frowned. The 2 wanted warrants belong to Suyu and Lox. Where's Gore? D. Roger. 5 elders made a heavy voice when talking about D. Let's let it go for now. The first thing you do is these 2. After leaving this sentence, Yim turned and left behind. Of course, 5 elders also knew why I marked the 2, one crossing the Holy Land Mary Geois, slapped the world government, and celestial dragons in the face. One is the extremely vicious pirate, and wherever he goes, there is a sea of blood. As for Roger, although he is not much better, he is not the primary target yet. Leaving the hall, 5 elders gathered again and started the meeting. There have been so many headaches these days, Marine has let us down again and again, huh? The bearded man sighed directly after speaking. According to the current situation, this battle is destined to be unavoidable. Rock's pirate is not a big threat. What I am most afraid of is that there is an accident. Not only Rock's pirate landed in the Valley of Gods, but also the Super Dimension pirates and Roger pirates landed. In this way, a very large-scale war will start. The bearded man frowned and said, this battle is related to Marine's future. You must not be careless. A few days later, early morning, Billy. The phone worm on the table started to ring, and Suyu, who was sleeping, slowly opened his eyes. After scanning the phone worm, he had guessed who was calling, because there was no one other than Roger. This guy, under normal circumstances, won't find me. Could it be that he was attacked by Lox? Muttering, he still got up and connected to the phone worm. Hey, Roger, can't you guys pick a good time to call in? Suyu yelled. Sorry, Suyu, because it is related to the seriousness of the matter, so I called you. Roger said anxiously. You were attacked by Lox. That's not true, but what will happen next is a great threat to us. Marine has issued an order to kill demons again. No, I don't know, Suyu, have you heard about the 3 ancient weapons? Roger asked calmly. Suyu's expression became serious after hearing the words of 3rd generation ancient weapon. As a traverser, he certainly knows, but he only knows 2, and the other Heavenly King doesn't know what it is. Since the original work has not yet finished 3.6, many puzzles have not been solved yet. I have heard that the 3 ancient weapons are said to have the ability to destroy the world. Suyu said lightly. It is said that Uranus, the king, is in the Valley of Gods, and the Rock's pirate members attacked the ships of the world government some time ago. They got the pointer of the Valley of Gods from the hands of the world government. Valley of Gods. Suyu was stunned. He remembered that in the original book, Locke's fall was in the Valley of Gods. It turned out that the purpose of that guy was to get Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons, to land in the Valley of Gods. Chapter 130. In the original book, Garp and Roger teamed up to defeat Lox in the Valley of Gods and achieved the title of Garp Marine Hero. Yeah, it's the Valley of Gods. He is going to find these ancient weapons to deal with us in the Marine. Roger said slowly. Hearing that, Suyu was lost in thought, and things did a little bit beyond his expectations. He never thought that Lox would actually have the idea of 3 ancient weapons. But if you think about it carefully, it's true. That's a weapon that can destroy the world. How can people with great ambitions give up this kind of thing? So, what are you going to do? Suyu asked. We can't just sit back and wait. We can't wait for the opportunity. We must take the initiative to attack, and we absolutely can't let Lox get the 3 ancient weapons. Otherwise, it's not just Marine who will suffer, but we must also be involved. Roger said calmly. It makes sense, then just do what you said 12, but do you have a pointer to the Valley of the Gods? Suyu asked aloud. I have. Now all we have to do is to get together and set off together to the Valley of Gods. Roger replied. Roger, did you say that Uranus, the king, is really in the Valley of Gods? It is said that it seems to be. Whether it is true or not, this is a bit difficult to tell, but whether it is true or false, we can't continue to wait for the opportunity. In case that guy Locks really got the 3 ancient weapons, we might become a little passive. Call. Su Yu sighed and said lightly. Okay, where are we meeting? Let's meet in Pakistan. Okay, we will reach that island as soon as possible. That's it for now. As Roger's voice fell off, the phone worm hung up. Su Yu lay back on the bed, closed his eyes, lost in thought. About an hour later, Su Yu sat up. It seems that the day has finally arrived. At the same time, Naval Headquarters. Are everyone here? Gengukong asked solemnly. Yes, Sengoku said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Gengukong glanced at the neatly ready Marine, and then stepped onto the podium. Everyone, we Marine is facing an important battle this time. I think you have already guessed a few of them. Yes, this time we are going to the Valley of the Gods to completely defeat the vicious Rocks Pirate. Rocks Pirate has done countless evil things since its inception. It's time to sanction them. As soon as Gengukong's voice fell, all the Marines began to shout and cheer. Now, it's time for this dirty era to be completely painted. Gengukong shouted. The Marine below started to boil even more. Set off. As the sound fell, all the Marines retreated neatly and began to walk towards the battleship one after another. Steel, is there any news from Roger and Su Yu? Sengoku, Garp, and Moses, who was recruited by the most New World conscripts, walked together in front of Gengukong and asked curiously. It's not clear yet, Gengukong replied. If Su Yu and Roger are also there, I'm afraid we Marine wants to resist it a bit reluctantly. Sengoku exhorted. I have considered what you said, but even if the two forces have joined the battle, we can't retreat. Gengukong said with a slightly helpless expression. This time, is it the task issued by the world government? Sengoku asked. Yup, perhaps, we can use the magic killing order, Moses suggested. No, celestial dragons live in the Valley of the Gods. The Demon Slayer order is absolutely impossible. Garp also said aloud from the side. It is precisely because of celestial dragons in the Valley of Gods that the world government will pay so much attention to it. Let us Marine stop Locks from landing in the Valley of Gods at any cost. Gengukong explained. You said, that's good, how did Locks think of landing in the Valley of Gods? Is there something in the Valley of Gods that attracted him? Sengoku murmured, his mind was already guessing. Garp didn't think too much. What's his purpose? Take this opportunity to defeat Rock's pirate. Garp, don't think too simplistically. What we are most afraid of right now is that either Roger or Su Yu will also join in. In that case, our troubles are really too much. We have to come up with a countermeasure. Sengoku said slowly. Indeed, the pirate's relationship is too complicated. What he fears most is that Roger, Su Yu and Locke suddenly join forces. In that case, with Marine's current forces, it will undoubtedly be defeated. Okay, no matter whether it is or not, let's get on the boat and talk about it first. It's not good to delay time here. Gengukong exhorted. Yes, everyone 617 nodded, and then followed Gengukong, slowly moving forward. Su Yu's boat. At this moment, everyone is eating breakfast in the lobby. Recently, we need to be busy with some things. Su Yu, who was eating breakfast, suddenly said. After hearing the words, everyone turned their eyes to Su Yu. Huh, are we going to do something big? Tornado asked. It's a bit sudden, but I think it might be a big deal. Lem looked at Su Yu's serious expression and guessed. Yes, it can be considered a big event. Let me just say it roughly. Locke seems to have found a place where the weapon that can destroy the world is located. We have to rush over to prevent him from acquiring this weapon that can destroy the world. Our previous grievances should also be over. Su Yu said slowly. Chapter 131. Locks. Listening to the unfamiliar name, Denisha was lost in thought. Yes, after all, she was the last one to board the ship, and she still knew some of the more basic things in this world. But for a certain person in this world, the level of understanding is almost zero. Of course, there are several other cases like Denisha. Su Yu was in the drawer and took out a bunch of wanted warrants and handed it to Denisha. Yes, you can take a look, just get a rough idea. After all, if nothing else, the Valley of the Gods this time would be the last island Locks logged on. So in-depth understanding is of little use. Actually, it doesn't need to look at all. Locks are pirates just like us, but, although they are peers, they are in a hostile relationship. Lem whispered to the side. I don't know anything about ancient weapons, but I think if Locks gets it, his target is likely to be us. It should be like this, Su Yu. Senju Hashirama said lightly. Not bad. Su Yu nodded. Rocks has always regarded us as obstacles for him to dominate the world. If he obtains the 3 ancient weapons, obviously, he will definitely come over and FK us. So, we have to kill them before he can get the 3 ancient weapons. Although Su Yu has heard of the 3 ancient weapons, he hasn't seen his power. Maybe he was taken by the guy Locks, and his situation is really a bit dangerous. Now it's clear. Everyone. Understood. Su Yu nodded. Originally wanted to continue eating breakfast, but suddenly got up, he continued. By the way, there is one more thing about hockey's learning. New members can learn what they want to learn. You can skip learning what you don't want, and you can choose. Hockey. Denisha was taken aback for a while, blinking at Su Yu. What is that? Wong was equally puzzled. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Rem smiled on his face, then used armament haki to cover his right hand. This is called armament haki. It is one of the 3 haki. It can improve your defense and your own attacks. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The other kind is called observation haki. It is probably the haki that can make people's 5 senses sharp, and can detect the breath and emotional changes of the surrounding creatures. It can also be used to predict and avoid danger. The last one is called conqueror's haki. According to Su Yu, this kind of person cannot learn, is innate, and only has the qualifications of kings. Lem explained slowly. Wu Luqi's face turned dark, and he said faintly, why Aizen and Hashirama both awakened to conqueror's haki, but I didn't awaken. Don't I have the qualifications of a king, which looks down on people too much? Not necessarily, it just depends on the time of individual awakening. Maybe it's just that Aizen and Hashirama are awakening soon. Su Yu replied. He. Listening to you say that, I feel much better. Wu Luqi smiled slightly. So then, what is conqueror's haki, who has the king's qualifications? Dinasa asked suspiciously. Probably, it's like this. Senju Hashirama said, and immediately released a powerful pressure from his body. Okay, I see, Dinasa replied. My suggestion is that you all learn. Anyway, if you have more skills, you can improve your strength. Su Yu said while eating breakfast. I am willing to try. Although it looks troublesome, I want to try it too. Wong also said lazily. It sounds interesting, I think I can try it too. Tornado also said. It seems that everyone wants to learn, so let the old crew member hand in 1-to-1. Su Yu exhorted. No problem, Rem and his party replied. A lot of time has passed, and 5 days have passed in an instant. Yes, in these 5 days, whether it was Marine, Locks, or Su Yu and Roger, they undoubtedly rushed to the Valley of God at the fastest speed. Valley of Gods, Port. Great Master Chabazel, please don't come here, Marine has ordered, let us during this time, it is best not to stroll around. A man in a black suit said to the side of the man. Saint Chabazel, who was riding on the giant's back, frowned and glanced back coldly. Quote. Diaresis, why should I follow the words of those untouchables from Marine? But, this is also for your safety, the great Lord Chabazel. The man in the black suit said. Who am I? I am the descendant of the Creator, the most noble person in the world, who dares to hit my idea? Only I kill goodbye in the world. Chabazel Saint arrogantly said. But, Marine Marshal Gangukong said, this time it is the vicious pirate of New World, Locks. The man in the black suit continued. Saint Chabazel became a little impatient, and his complexion suddenly became very gloomy. Shut your stinky mouth, otherwise, I don't mind having one more slave. The man in the black suit heard the words, and the thoughts he had wanted to persuade disappeared without a trace. Quickly go, quickly go. Chabazel Shunga, Wang Dezhao, started smoking the sitting giant with his whip. Suddenly, at this moment, a huge shadow enveloped the harbor. When Saint Chabazel and the two of them reacted, the sea slapped in front of them, and a huge wave splashed. The huge wave hit the shore directly. The soggy Saint Chabazel immediately became annoyed, and cursed at the giant ship that appeared out of thin air. Which *ch is it, I want him to be broken into pieces. As he said, he personally drew the spear from his waist. Locks and his party stood on the bow, looking at celestial dragons, Saint Chabazel, like a clown. When does this clown want to do? Chapter 132. I don't know, he seems to be scolding us. Longbread said. This costume. This guy is celestial dragons. Don't the celestial dragons guys live in the Holy Land Mary Geois? Why did they come here? Kaido said curiously. It's probably going to go for a walk. Look at the giant he's sitting on. His eyes are filled with despair. It's so pathetic. Charlotte Linlin smiled. I didn't come out for a walk. Look at the magnificent castle behind. There are also celestial dragons living here. Locke said in shock. Indeed, he always thought that celestial dragons lived in the Holy Land Mary Geois, but he never expected that celestial dragons lived in a place called the Valley of Gods. Having said this, Locke suddenly remembered something, and his eyes flashed. Could it be, Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons, is in the hands of the world government? As soon as it came out, everyone was shocked. Captain Locke said that it is quite possible that all here are castles. I suspect that like the Holy Land Mary Geois, there are celestial dragons living here, no ordinary people. Longbread said calmly. In that case, Uranus may really be in the hands of celestial dragons. Whitebeard glanced around and said calmly 620. If you shoot here, maybe Marine will be here soon. Kaido reminded. After all, the last time he attacked the world government ship in the Chambord Islands, Marine only took tens of minutes to rush over. If this is also the residence of celestial dragons, maybe Marine will be able to come over in a few minutes. So what? Marines can't stop me from coming here. Uranus, the king, always belongs to us Rocks pirate. The brow of Saint Chabazel below slightly frowned, because he cursed a few words here. Locks turned out to be a bird. Damn untouchables, ignore me. Great Chabazel Saint, please don't say anything, that guy is the vicious Locks. The man in the black suit was scared out of his soul. What Locks? I haven't heard of it, Chabazel Saint said coldly. Let's get out of here quickly and let Marine take care of it. Said the man in the black suit hesitantly. What? These guys stained my clothes, and they just left. Wouldn't it be that I lost the face of celestial dragons? Saint Chabazel said in a deep voice. Don't worry, the great Chabazel Saint, Marine will teach them, let's get out of here first. Let's go, giant, the man in black suit said to the back and exhorted the giant. The giant just took a step. There was a bang. For a moment, the bullet shot directly from the spear in the hands of Saint Chabazel, and directly penetrated the head of the man in the black suit. He said angrily. This is my slave, how dare you call it? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Let me go. The giant begged. Boom. The long gun fired a bullet again, piercing the giant's arm. Ha 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 ha. At this time, Saint Chabazel laughed wildly. Next is you. Saint Chabazel gathered his spears and aimed them at Locks. At this time, everyone in Rock's Pirate was not paying attention to him, and they were discussing how to proceed. Boom. A bullet fired from the spear again, approaching Locks. Locks didn't even look at it, and instantly armament hockey was released, and the flying bullet was directly bounced away. Boom. The bullet hit the ground directly below. Damn, why didn't you hit? Saint Chabazel shouted cursingly. Just as the words fell, laughter came from behind him. Saint Chabazel turned his head fiercely, and a man with long blonde hair stared at him emptily. Yes, he is the Golden Lion Shiki. You guy with a straw bag in your head is so impatient that you hurried to shoot our captain. Golden Lion sneered. Presumptuous. I am Celestial Dragons. Golden Lion looked at him with a leisurely look, and smiled. I see, so what, do you want me to kneel for you? Of course, kneeling down on me can't solve the problem now, wait for the price, you dare. Chabazel Saint replied. Shiki, what are you guys doing? Hurry up, we have to leave. Locks yelled from the boat. All right, Captain Locks, I know. Golden Lion replied, and then looked at Saint Chabazel. What did you just say? It cost me. You guy, is your head crooked? Golden Lion pulled out his saber directly. This action directly scared Saint Chabazel from the giant's back. You guy, want to assassinate celestial dragons? I'm telling you, not everyone in the world is afraid of you celestial dragons. Golden Lion sneered, and then slashed his head directly. Jayahahaha. Golden Lion was a little trapped. Originally thought he could hold it a few times, but he didn't expect it to be killed by a spike. The next second, the Golden Lion floated back to the ship, and then let the entire ship float. Go directly to the center of the island in the Valley of Gods. Locks exhorted. To understanding. At the same time, Marine's battleship almost reached the Valley of Gods. How long will it take to resist the Valley of Gods? Gengukong asked aloud. Marshal Steelbone, coming soon, at this speed, we will be able to reach the Valley of Gods in a few hours, one of the Marine soldiers replied. Okay, go ahead at full speed. Chapter 133. As soon as Gengukong's words fell, the phone worm next to him rang. Billy. Steelbone's prestige was gone, and he looked at the phone worm with a dull look. To be honest, he was a little afraid of answering the phone worm now. He was afraid that it was the world government or the Valley of the Gods that would come to him with unfavorable news. But, even if you don't want to hear the phone bug ringing, but it rings, there is no way, he must answer it, in case it is any important information. Gengukong stretched out his hand and pressed it, and connected to the phone worm. I'm Gengukong, please speak. As soon as the voice fell, an anxious voice came from the phone worm. Marshal Steel, it's not good. Rock's pirate has arrived in the Valley of Gods and fell in the center of the island. Now it is destroyed everywhere, as if looking for something. A man said in a panic. Hearing this, Gangji Yukong's brows frowned suddenly. Yes, what he was worried about still happened. What happened to the Celestial Dragons guys? Gengukong asked back. Marshal Steelbone, you know, what kind of pirate group Rock's pirate is, they care about whether they are Celestial Dragons or not, and they will kill them directly. And you know the characters of Celestial Dragons, it's all eggs hitting the rocks. The man explained. We still need a few hours to reach the Valley of Gods. Gengukong continued. A few hours. After a few hours, I suspect that the Valley of Gods will be completely turned into ruins, the man said with a choking voice. Quote. Gengukong frowned and said coldly, where are the guards and marines stationed over there? Don't mention it, you can't resist Rox's gang at all, whoever will die. Then we have no choice. I can't do anything except try to rush over. Gengukong replied. Just now, there was an explosion on the phone worm, followed by wailing. Hey, are you okay? Gengukong asked. The phone worm's facial expression disappeared first, followed by a face change in the next second. Who? This voice made Gengukong feel a little strange and familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere, but he couldn't think of it for a while. Who are you? Gengukong asked solemnly. It's a bit familiar to hear your voice, isn't you a gangster empty? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Gengukong heard the words, pondered for a few seconds, and finally he remembered. You are, Shiki of Rock's pirate. Bingo. Stop it, you guys, a part of Celestial Dragons live on the Valley of the Gods. If you do, the world government will definitely encircle and suppress you. Gengukong exhorted. However, what he never expected was that Golden Lion wouldn't eat you at all. Tisk tusk tusk. It seems like we don't kill celestial dragons, you marine, the world government will not trouble us like that, tell you, we are not afraid at all. Golden Lion sneered and said, then directly left the phone worm in his hand on the ground, and continued to search for the whereabouts of the 3 ancient weapons. Gang Gukong tried hard to suppress his anger, trying to calm his emotions. According to the situation just now, I'm afraid that when we rushed to the Valley of the Gods, that place became a ruin. Sengoku whispered from the side. We are doing our best. After receiving the order from the world government, we set off immediately. It would be helpless if we couldn't make it, Garp said as he ate. Why did those guys suddenly come up with the idea of the Valley of Gods? It was a little sudden, Moses muttered. It is estimated that the Valley of Gods has what Locks wants. Sengoku replied. No matter what, our recent situation is really terrible. I believe that after this mission, I will inevitably get scolded. Gangukong said with a little helplessness. Sengoku, Garp, and Moses didn't care much. Anyway, it wasn't him who didn't get caught. Find flowers. New world waters. Over the sky. The 2 ships are flying at extremely fast speeds. If there is a person like this on our boat, then we are just as powerful as a tiger. Rayleigh said calmly. Yes, what Rayleigh said is naturally the tornado on Suyu's boat. These 2 ships can fly in the sky, undoubtedly all of them are tornado credits. Ha ha ha, maybe in the future, our pirate group will be able to come to such a person. Roger laughed loudly. Hey, Rayleigh cast his eyes on the tornado on Suyu, which was flying in sync. Are you calling me? Tornado looked at Rayleigh curiously. Yes, are you interested in coming to our boat? Rayleigh laughed and teased. ... 0. Tornado's face changed slightly. What silly thing are you talking about? When the words were over, Tornado moved his hands directly, and Roger's ship directly began to roll. Ah, the next second, a loud cry came directly from his boat. It's okay. It won't be good to wait to throw some weaker people down. Suyu on the side exhorted. Okay. Tornado snorted coldly, hands on hips, and used his superpowers to restore Roger's boat to normal. It's too fierce, I'll just make a joke. As for, Rayleigh said aggrieved. It's so messy, Senior Rayleigh, we were almost thrown out just now. A young pirate said. Yeah, if I make a few turns, I will definitely fall out. I was just kidding, who knew it would be? Rayleigh waved his hand helplessly. You forgot, it's just that she summoned a meteorite to come down last time. Just don't joke with her. Upon hearing this, Roger couldn't help laughing. Chapter 134. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Indeed, the matter of the meteorite is still vivid in Roger's eyes. It is estimated that besides Suyu, Tornado has the most impression on them. Roger, at this speed, how long will it take for us to resist the Valley of Gods? Suyu asked. Roger groped his chin, pondered for dozens of seconds, and then replied, about a few hours or so. There were still a few hours left when I heard that the tornado exploded on the spot. What the hell? How many more hours will it take? Roger nodded. Tornado pouted and looked at Suyu. Suyu, I want to strike, or let the boat float in the sea. Roger, if sailing in the sea, how long will it take? Suyu asked again. Well, it will probably take almost a day. Little Tornado, you also heard that if we sail in the sea, we need a day, so, this time I will work hard for you. Suyu also waved his hand helplessly. Then you promise me a request. What's the requirement? Suyu looked at the tornado with surprise. I haven't figured it out yet, I'll tell you when I think about it. Tornado said lightly. All right, but if it's too demanding, it's a different matter. Suyu exclaimed. Tornado nodded. Suyu just wanted to say something. Suddenly at this moment, in his mind, a reminder sound suddenly came to mind. Ding dong, the unlocking progress of the summoned character Dragon Scroll reached 30%. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the summoning character Tornado ability, Superpower. Please continue to cheer on the host. The higher the unlocking progress, the more the ability to summon characters can be obtained. As the system's voice fell, a new memory poured into Suyu's mind, and his body immediately became a little uncomfortable. The body was tilted slightly, panting heavily. What's wrong with you? Tornado noticed something wrong with Suyu and immediately asked. Lem was also next to her. Suyu's abnormality made her subconsciously reach out and touch Suyu's head. It's hot. What's going on? It seems to have a fever. Lem said lightly. What's the matter? He seemed to be very energetic just now. Why suddenly he fell ill? Ram said softly. Fortunately, that feeling comes fast and goes fast. Call. Suyu exhaled heavily, and replied, don't worry, I'm fine. As I get older, there will be more physical problems. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Quote. Lem stretched out his hand and squeezed Suyu's arm. What are you talking about? It's always worrying. It hurts. Lem snorted and let go. Anyway, there are still a few hours to reach the Valley of the Gods. Taking advantage of this time, I will take a rest. Suyu left a sentence and then left. Back in the room, Suyu quickly opened his property panel. Host. Suyu. Summon. Aizen 45%, Reem 45%, Hashirama 50%, Wuluki 25%, Jiraiya 25%, Tornado 30%, Wangyi 20%, Denisha 20%. Summoning character inheritance. Keto Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode, Hashirama, Superpower 30%, Dragon Roll. Summoning Value. 60,140,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special Ability. Under Fire 1800 2000 Thor 436 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate 1900 2000 Observation Hockey 1900 2000 Conquerors Hockey 750 2000 Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members 8/12. Glancing at the property panel in front of him, Suyu was slightly surprised. What the hell is 30% superpower? Is it that only 30% of the power can be used at present? Or is it developed to 30% now? Suyu guessed. After all, he began to use the method guided by his memory. In an instant, his body was covered with a layer of blue light, and after that, he floated up. If I go, I will finally fly. Suyu was a little bit happy in his heart. In fact, superpowers are no different, probably similar to Suyu's other abilities. A few hours later, Valley of Gods. Most of the original spectacular castles have become ruins at this moment. Nearly half of the celestial dragons who lived in the Valley of the Gods died. After a few hours, no news about Uranus, the king, was found, and Lox was in a bad mood. Is there any news, Captain Lox? Not yet, not yet. Lox sighed deeply and cast his eyes to the front. At this moment, in front of him, a celestial dragon was paralyzed on the ground in fright, looking at Lox tense. Uranus, where is it? Lox asked coldly towards celestial dragons. What Uranus? I don't know. This celestial dragon was now shivering with fright. He didn't have the arrogant look before, and seemed to have forgotten that he was a celestial dragon. Fart. Uranus, the heavenly king, is definitely in the hands of the world government, and maybe it is held by your celestial dragons now. Lox said with a sullen face. I really don't know the 3.6 of Uranus. If you want treasure, I will give you as much as you want. As long as you don't kill me. Celestial dragons begged. Hehehehe. Lox couldn't help laughing when he heard the words. Taebao, do you think I look like the kind of person who lacks money? No. It doesn't look like. Seeing that he hadn't asked any useful information from his mouth, Lox had already lost patience with him. He just wanted to kill the celestial dragons in front of him. Suddenly at this time, the earth began to shake. Lox glanced around in an instant. Chapter 135. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Although I don't know what happened, but I don't know why, there is always a premonition of anxiety in my heart. Bring the phone bug here. Lox yelled at the pirate not far away. Okay, Captain Lox. After the pirate said, he quickly walked to Lox's side, and then handed the phone worm in his hand to Lox. After receiving it, Lox quickly dialed a number, and a few seconds later, the phone worm was connected. Before Lox spoke, a voice came from the phone worm. Captain Lox, I haven't found any information about Uranus, the king of heaven. Golden Lion said. In addition to this, I have one more thing I want to ask. The ground shook just now. What's the matter? Lox asked solemnly. Yes, I just wanted to tell you Captain Lox about this. Marine guys are here. Edward guys have already fought, and the shock just now was also because of Edward's shock fruit. Golden Lion spoke faster than usual. It's getting on a lot. Who is here? This time it's a bit uncomfortable. 12 steel bones are empty. Sengoku, Garp are here, and there is another guy named Moses who replaced Zephyr at the top. Unexpectedly, this time, Marine actually deployed most of its combat power to encircle us. Golden Lion said with emotion. Hearing this, Lox was silent for a moment. Is it because of celestial dragons? That's why most of Marine's combat power was deployed to encircle us, or is it that Uranus, the Uranus, is really in the Valley of Gods, and their purpose is to prevent me from finding it? Lox muttered, and another voice came from the phone worm. Captain Lox, do you see how we should choose, whether we want to retreat or fight with Marine? Golden Lion asked. Even though most of Marine's combat power has come, then sanction them all by the way. Lox said coldly. Even if they came here, if the King Uranus didn't find them, they didn't plan to go back empty-handed. Valley of Gods, the other side. When a long sword directly collided with Whitebeard Kong Yunchi, and an invisible shock wave spread in all directions. The ground cracked directly. Garp, you guys are still lingering. No matter how far away you are, your eye-catching Marines will always be able to come over. Whitebeard said. Our ghosts are not going away. I think you said it the other way around. You pirates can't stop for a while. It's not good to go where the trouble is. You have to come to the Valley of the Gods, but celestial dragons live here. Garp retorted Dao. Humph. Whitebeard snorted coldly, and quickly clenched the other free hand, and then immediately covered his fist with a white halo. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Obviously, this is his shock fruit ability. He moved very quickly, first withdrawing Kong Yunchi directly, and then hitting Garp with a punch. Naturally, Garp didn't show weakness, and directly covered his hands with armed color, and then attacked. Boom. The two fists collided, and a strong air current reproduced. I haven't seen you in a long time, your strength has become much stronger, Garp. Whitebeard sneered. It's the same with you, Edward. The other side. Sengoku, along with Gangukong and Moses, were still rushing towards the center of the Valley of Gods. Suddenly at this time, the top of the castle collapsed directly and fell towards them. Seeing this, Sengoku slammed his fist directly, creating a powerful air current and rushing away. Directly blast the top of the collapsed castle into slag. Moses stared at the rapidly falling debris, quickly drew the long sword from his waist, and then swiped it. A crescent-shaped light blade directly separated from the blade, instantly changing the trajectory of the falling debris. Boom boom boom. Thick smoke drifted up quickly. At the same time, a small sound rang from the top of another castle. Gang Gukong's group quickly looked over. That's Shiki from Rock's Pirate. I haven't seen you for a long time, I really miss you a little, Sengoku. Golden Lion sneered. You are really a bunch of lunatics. This is where the celestial dragons live. What you are doing now is to challenge the final bottom line of the world government. Gang Gukong said coldly. Have you guys thought about the consequences? What is it worth taking such a big risk for you to do this kind of thing? Sengoku continued. It's your shit, just a bunch of marines, still want to stop us. Golden Lion did not mention the 3 ancient weapons to Sengoku. Sengoku, I beg you here, Moses will keep going with me. If you can beat one, you count one. Gangu Kong said solemnly. The celestial dragons can't be saved. Sengoku asked. If you can save it, you can save it, if you can't save it, just listen, as long as we are alive. Gangu Kong exhorted. Sengoku nodded. This time the battle of the Valley of Gods will undoubtedly be a very fierce battle. After about 630 minutes or so, the explosion sound continued, and the number of ground vibrations began to become more and more frequent. Obviously, Gangu Kong and Lox had fought. As for some of the more ordinary marines, they rescued the celestial dragons who were still alive and quickly took them to the port. Damn, this is our home. You marines are really useless, even a little pirate can't handle it. Celestial dragons, whose face was stained with blood, was smashed into a bubble hood. Dow. That's not a small pirate, calling him a sea lord is completely consistent. A marine colonel explained. Stop making excuses, is it so difficult to admit that you are incompetent? The celestial dragons retorted. Let's not talk about this, let's take us out of here quickly. Another celestial dragons continued. The voice fell off, a huge shadow instantly enveloped the harbor. Everyone raised their heads. At this moment, 2 large ships landed on the sky not far away. Chapter 136. What is this? Is my eyes blurred? There are 2 ships flying in the sky. One of the women, celestial dragons, looked at the 2 ships, frowning involuntarily. Could it be that the pirate is here again? As soon as the voice fell, Marine's answer directly crashed all the celestial dragons present. You are right, these 2 ships are really pirates. Colonel Marine replied. Please tell me loudly that only the unknown pirates are here. The female celestial dragons directly grabbed Colonel Marine by the collar and said solemnly. Colonel Marine looked a little ugly when he heard this, and he wanted to answer that way, but it was the super dimension pirates of the New World Giants and Roger Pirates. Sorry, although I really want to talk about the unknown, but reality is wiping out my statement. Although the pirate who came is not as famous as the previous one, he is also a sea giant. As soon as this remark came out, the female celestial dragons immediately became soft and loosened Colonel Marine's collar. Why is this happening? Why are these untouchables staying at the sea and running to the Valley of Gods? The female celestial dragons yelled a little brokenly. While speaking, she seemed to think of something and asked Colonel Marine. By the way, those guys are not afraid of a celestial dragons. The female celestial dragons looked at Colonel Marine expectantly, wishing to say it from his mouth, afraid of the word. In this way, perhaps their lives are guaranteed. But if it's like Lox, I'm afraid everything is hanging. Colonel Marine glanced at the female celestial dragons faintly, and then said, one of them is called the Super Dimension Pirate Group. He came to New World directly across the Holy Land Mary Geois. It is said that Mary Geois died in the Holy Land at that time. Dragons. What? After the female celestial dragons heard this, the boss opened her eyes as if she was about to fall out of her eye socket. Come. It turned out to be those guys. Damn it. Celestial dragons on the side also began to curse. I also heard about that incident. Those guys are simply demons. As they were talking, the 2 ships landed not far from the port. Boom. A sound. There was a huge wave. Su Yu stared at the smoke-filled castle in front, frowning slightly. It seems that Lox and the others have arrived for some time. Su Yu said first. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's not just Lox, but Marine's main force is also here. Roger added the ship next to him. The main force. Steel bones empty them. Yes, it seems that they have already played against each other. Maybe. It's possible that Lox has already got the ancient weapon. If it is true Yang, I think we might be very troublesome. Roger said calmly. 1 step counts as 1 step. Su Yu waved his hand. Look at the large group of celestial dragons on the shore ahead. Lem suddenly said. I'm going, but it looks very embarrassing, it's not the kind of awkward and coaxing look we saw before. It is estimated that the fellow Lox has already cleaned up before, so that we can be so peaceful. Senju Hashirama whispered. Well, this time our goal is not celestial dragons, but rocks. With that said, Su Yu's gaze fell on Lem. Ram, how about you two? Are you going to follow us or? I can fight, Lem said. Ram hesitated. It's okay. Even if you don't participate in the battle, you have made a lot of contributions to the ship. Su Yu smiled slightly. Can you handle it? Aizen, who has been silent, suddenly asked. Aren't you going? Su Yu was taken aback for a moment. I'm responsible for staying and protecting them. The province is the same as last time it was attacked. Aizen explained. We people, adding Roger is enough. Su Yu calmly said. After all, in the original book, without Su Yu, Roger and Garp hadn't killed Locks in the same way, and now they have themselves and so many strong partners around them. It shouldn't be a problem. And Aizen staying is undoubtedly what makes Su Yu most at ease. Then I will stay, Aizen said calmly. He was not really interested in these battles. If he insisted on making a move, there would be no way. Lem, you stay too. Su Yu exhorted. But. Stop it. Lem nodded obediently, and then told Su Yu, then you be careful, Aizen and I are here waiting for you to come back. Okay, brothers, land on the island. Su Yu yelled. Immediately afterwards, everyone used their own methods to land on the island. A blue light appeared on Su Yu's body first, and he floated directly behind him. Hey, when will Su Yu fly? Wu Luki was a little surprised when he saw Su Yu flying up. Really, where did this guy learn? Damn, it's hanging up. Wang also frowned. Are you a superpower like me? The dragon, Wang Hao, floated around Su Yu, looked at it carefully, and continued, it's very similar to mine. These things, let's talk about these things when we get back, let's go. After all, Su Yu flew directly. The tornado is following. Hey, fly slower, we can't keep up. Wu Luki yelled from behind. Senju Hashirama and Jiraiya are stepping on the sea and moving fast. Other people also cross the sea. These actions directly regarded Roger's group as silly. Who is Su Yu on this boat? Rayleigh couldn't help but said to the man. Chapter 137. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Yes, Rayleigh Sr. is right. I am also very curious, who are the people on board Su Yu Sr.? Several ones that can fly, some that can walk on the surface of the water, and one that can transform into various things. Tusk, what kind of devil fruit are these people eating? Yu said with emotion from their backs. It seems that they have a few more people than before. Another pirate said. Nonsense, we have been gone for a long time. We have more than a dozen crew members on board. Is it weird that they have more boats? A man with a scar on his face retorted. That's not weird. The weird thing is, where Su Yu found these all kinds of people. I have also noticed the newcomers. It's definitely not easy. Rayleigh said calmly. This is not something that belongs to our ship. You don't need to care too much. Okay, don't be in a daze. Let's land in the Valley of Gods. Roger exclaimed from the side. On the other side, when Lem and Ram saw that Su Yu could fly, the two of them were stunned. Su Yu, when will he fly? Lem looked puzzled. I don't know, it's the first time I saw it today. If I didn't guess 6:30 wrong, I should have learned it during this period of time. Aizen smiled slightly and said. This time, yes it is. Not only can it fly, as long as it is summoned from other worlds, such as my ability, or your ability, or someone else's, Su Yu can do it. Aizen said calmly. In fact, Aizen has been aware of it a long time ago, but when the number of people was small, he was not very sure. Now that the number of people is large, he can basically be sure at a glance. Oh. This is not the point, right? Isn't it? What is that? Lem looked at Aizen with a curious look. You're not curious, how did he do it? Obviously he didn't do anything to us, but he was able to gain our abilities. I think he definitely has a super ability in him. Aizen's expression became slightly serious. Hey, I don't think it matters. Anyway, he is our captain and can't be against us. Rem smiled. Hearing that, Aizen smiled slightly, but he stopped talking about the topic when he couldn't talk about it. He was just curious about Su Yu's abilities. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Seeing Su Yu and Roger, they only passed by on the other side and ignored their celestial dragons at all. Whether it's celestial dragons or marine, they all breathed a sigh of relief. After all, neither of these two pirate groups will eat your world government set, and they are not afraid of you world government, marine, let alone celestial dragons. Those guys don't seem to be interested in us. Great. In this way, our lives will be guaranteed. The female celestial dragons took a breath. Damn it, these damn untouchables make us faceless. One of the male celestial dragons saw Su Yu and they left and began to complain. Soon his eyes came to Su Yu and Roger's boat, and in the next second, a strange smile appeared on his face. Then he walked in front of Colonel Marine and said viciously, I order you to destroy those untouchable boats for me. As soon as this remark came out, Colonel Marine shuddered immediately. What a joke, others ignored you and wanted to provoke others. Are you crazy? Their people haven't finished their journey. If you let me destroy their ship, you are asking us to die together. Colonel Marine retorted. Damn untouchable, you dare to disobey my orders. The male celestial dragons heard Colonel Marine say this, and his temper suddenly became angry. He just wanted to draw a spear from his waist, but he was beaten up by celestial dragons by other people around him. You guy, die by yourself, don't hurt us. I've been holding you back for a long time. B asterisk 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 D. Is your mind pretending to be paste? What a shame on our celestial dragons. After being beaten for a while, the other celestial dragons stopped and, under the leadership of Colonel Marine, quickly landed on the Marine battleship. Valley of Gods, Center. Marine has the strength and manpower, obviously not enough. It hasn't started yet, and Marine has already taken advantage of it. Moreover, Gangukong is now engaged in a fierce battle with Locks. Unfortunately, Gangukong is currently at a disadvantage. Stop it, Locks. Gangukong frowned tightly. Ha 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 ha. Locks was standing on the top of the castle. He couldn't help laughing when he heard the words of Gangukong, and then retorted. You told me to stop. What are you kidding? If you don't stop, if you insist on fighting, I'm afraid you Locks won't get any benefits. Even if you stand still, you will definitely be hit hard. You have to think about the consequences clearly. At sea, there is still a super-dimensional pirate group, and the Roger pirate group will stare at you. Once you are hit here, you will definitely be swallowed by them. Gangukong explained slowly. Locks frowned slightly when he heard the words. Indeed, as Gangukong said, once he was hit hard in the Valley of Gods, he would be easily chased by Roger and Suyu. A truce is also possible, but I have one condition. If you agree, I Locks will immediately withdraw from the Valley of God. Locks said. What conditions? Gangukong asked. Hand over Uranus, the king of the three ancient weapons, and I will leave immediately. Locks replied. Although he said that, if the steel bones were really handed over, Locks would have to regret it immediately. Chapter 138. Although it seems a bit despicable to do so, compared with my own ambitions, it is simply insignificant. Three ancient weapons. Uranus, the king. After Gangukong heard Locks' words, his face suddenly became serious. The world government just let the steel bones come to encircle Locks, but didn't tell him what the purpose of Locks came to the Valley of God was. Now that he heard Locks say so, he knew that the Valley of Gods that Locks came to was to find one of the three ancient weapons, Ulanoth. Of course, the three ancient weapons, steel bones are still more or less solution. Seeing that the steel frame was empty, Locks guessed that he must know where Uranus was, so he continued to ask. How? As long as you hand the Uranus to me, no, tell me where it is. I will get it by myself. After I get it, I will immediately evacuate from the Valley of Gods. Hearing this, Locke's voice pulled him back from his contemplation. Gangukong frowned and said in a deep voice. Your calculation has failed, and I don't know where Uranus is. As soon as the voice fell, Locke's expression turned a little ugly. Obviously, Gangukong's answer made him dissatisfied. Don't pretend to be stupid anymore. You, as an effective officer of the world government, Marshal Marine, how could you not know where Uranus is? Locks retorted. Do you think first am Marshal Marine and know everything? Gangukong also retorted. Indeed, although Gangukong was the Marine Marshal, world government 5 elders only gave him orders for many things, and did not tell him the reason, such as this time around Locks. Seeing Gangukong's appearance that didn't look like a lie, Locks let out a sigh of relief. If this is the case, what right do you have to tell me to stop? Even if the entire Valley of Gods is turned over, I will find the whereabouts of the King Uranus. Locks said in a deep voice. You can think about it, even if you get lucky to win today, Suyu and Roger will not let you go. Gangukong once again instructed Locks. Don't talk to me about these falsehoods, I am not afraid of Suyu and Roger at all, in my eyes they are just two little furry kids. This era, but my era. With Rox's roar, he covered armament hockey with the long sword in his hand. Then he waved at the steel bone, and suddenly a huge blade of light slashed over. Steel Bone Kong also showed no weakness, and quickly covered armament hockey with the long sword in his hand. Then defend. Boom. The huge light blade hit the steel bone long sword, and the impact made him retreat continuously. Drink. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. With a loud shout, Gangukong increased his strength and successfully blocked the light blade. Immediately afterwards, he rushed towards Locks at an extremely fast speed, and the two began a fierce battle again. At the same time, in the distance, the top of the castle, where Suyu was standing with Tornado, staring in the direction of Locks. Won't we go over? Tornado asked. In the past. What are you doing in the past? The Gangukong guy is fighting Locks back and forth. As the captain, I still have something to teach you, that is, the advantage that can be taken must be taken. Suyu is serious, said. After all, in his eyes, the best thing is to solve Locks directly, so that it will save him a lot of things. Humph. Tornado put his hands on his hips. Yu Guang glanced at Suyu. Oh, by the way, you go tell some Roger their situation, let him come here, don't be foolish to go to war. Suyu exhorted a Tornado. Well, I knew I wouldn't follow you. Tornado yelled, and then he obediently explained what Suyu had done for him. At the same time, the other side. The long bread kept pressing the phone bug. What's wrong? What happened? You have such an expression. Charlotte Linlin asked suspiciously. Couldn't our members fight at this time? Kaido also asked aloud. Seeing that Locks could not be reached, Longbread directly threw the phone worm on the ground. Find flowers. Neither. I just saw Roger and Suyu on the other side. Now I'm about to tell Captain Locks, but Locks can't be contacted. Longbread explained. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin became stiff when they heard Suyu and Roger. What? Suyu and Roger are here. Kaido said in a deep voice. Damn, this luck is really heaven-defying. Roger and Suyu also came to join in the fun. Charlotte Linlin said in a deep voice. People who can shake the entire age have come to the Valley of Gods. I am afraid that the Battle of the Valley of Gods will be a great battle. Longbread said in a deep voice. Linlin, if things really develop to a certain point, please remember what I told you. Longbread said solemnly. Charlotte Linlin smiled. Don't worry, I know. What are you talking about? Kaido asked with a puzzled look. Kaido, I have some friendship with you, so let me tell you the truth. Now Marine, Suyu, Roger are all here. If there is no truce, there will be a big war. We are at a very disadvantaged side. There is Marine in front, Roger and Suyu in the back. Do you think Locke still has a chance to reverse? Longbread said slowly. Are you trying to betray Captain Locke? Kaido frowned. This is what you said. We didn't say that, but if it really reaches a certain point, Linlin and I will not put our lives on Locke's. Longbread said solemnly. Hearing this, Kaido fell into silence, and he didn't expect that the long loaf would say such a thing. However, what he said was not unreasonable. Kaido didn't want to put his life on Locke's. I'm afraid, if it really reaches that point, he will run away too. This voice flashed through Kaido's mind. Chapter 139. Charlotte Linlin glanced at Kaido, then grinned and sneered. No way, Kaido, are you serious? Kaido looked at Charlotte Linlin with a cold face. What do you mean? Don't understand. Do you think the whole pirate group is the only one of us? Charlotte Linlin explained. Impossible. Kaido vetoed it all at once. Although there were always conflicts on the ship, this is a fact, but when encountering difficulties in the past, even if there were conflicts, he would still help. Ha 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 ha. Longbread and Charlotte Linlin laughed indifferently. Just wait and see. Let's go, Linlin, let's support the other side. Charlotte Linlin nodded and left with the long loaf. Kaido stood there for a few seconds. He always thought that the contradictions on the ship were only personal, but what he never expected was that these contradictions had already corroded the foundation of the ship. At the same time, Roger and the others also came to the place where Suyu was hiding. Suyu, I think it might be better if we still have to plan. Roger stared at the situation ahead and said. What's the plan? Locke is alone. His members are fighting against Marine. We don't need these bells and whistles at all. Suyu said lightly. Upon hearing this, Roger shook his head and smiled. Also, the purpose is to destroy Locke. As for the process of, it doesn't matter. This time, it can be said to be a great opportunity. In any case, it is time for the name Locke to disappear from New World. Suyu said. The expression on his face became serious, and the expression in his eyes gradually revealed there was a murderous intent. As soon as Suyu's voice fell, Rayleigh on the side spoke. Locke and the steel bones seem to have found us. At this time, Locke and the others, who had fought fiercely, obviously slowed down. That's right, just as Rayleigh said, Gengukong and Locke have already discovered Suyu and them. Gangji Yukong's face was very ugly at this time. He didn't expect that the thing that worries him the most has happened. 3 pirate forces, 1 marine force. If suddenly they join forces to deal with marine first, they will basically die in 9 deaths. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, Locke's words made Gangukong's tense mood relax a lot. Are you still going to fight with me? Now Suyu and Roger have both come to the Valley of Gods. No matter which side I win with you, they will eventually get a big deal for both of them. Locke calmly said. Even though it is said, there is no other way. Gangukong replied. Let's join hands. My pirate group, plus your marine strength, is enough to make Suyu and Roger fall into the Valley of Gods. After killing them both, Locke will leave the Valley of Gods. Locke whispered softly. Hearing this, Gangbone Kong's pupils shrank violently. Indeed, what Locke said made Gangbone Kong a little surprised. I discussed the matter of joining hands before, but it was directly rejected by Locke, but I didn't expect to be able to say it in my mouth today. However, what made Gangukong didn't expect was that Locke used his own calculations. If Suyu and Roger were killed successfully, he would easily solve Gangukong and them together. In the same way, Gangukong is also making an calculation. If he joins hands with Locke and destroys the 2 giants of New World at the same time, this is a very cost-effective thing. Maybe, there will be an unexpected surprise at that time. For example, Locke is seriously injured, and Marine will take the opportunity to shoot. Gangukong was silent for dozens of seconds, and finally nodded. Rox, what you said makes sense. As Marshal Marine, I form an alliance with you Rox Pirate for the time being. Lend me your phone worm. It should have stopped my brothers. I don't think Suyu and Roger would dream that they would be surrounded by us. Locke's grinned sneer. Gangukong just raised the corners of his mouth slightly, did not speak, and handed the phone worm to Locke. Soon, the phone worm dialed through. Let everyone stop. We have joined forces with Marine, and the goal is to deal with the Super Dimension Pirates and Roger Pirates. Locke said. What's going on? Captain Locke. The Locke pirate crew on the other side was a little daunted. After all, it was because of the suddenness of the incident. You just need to do what I said. Locke said in a deep voice. Okay. After the voice fell, only a noise came from the phone worm. After a while, there was another voice over there. Captain Locke, the Marine guys don't believe it. You give the phone worm to their cadre, and their old nature will tell him. Lox explained. Okay, Captain Lox, I see. After all, Lox handed the phone bug to Gangu Kong. See the scene of Gangu Kong and Lox. Su Yu and the others have discovered that something is wrong. Suddenly stopped. Should this be a trap, Marine and Lox joined forces to draw us here, and then annihilate them in a wave. Your guess is likely to be correct. Damn it, we got it. Listening to the people from the Roger Pirates group talking, Su Yu said, not necessarily, this should be just an accident. I think so too. This is indeed an accident. The Valley of Gods live in some celestial dragons. Even if Marine agrees to use this island design trap, I don't think the world government will agree to 3.6. Roger's analysis was expressionless. Up. According to what you said, Lox and Gangu Kong only found out about us temporarily. Rayleigh added immediately. Yes, it should be like that. Roger replied. Su Yu let out a sigh of relief, originally thinking of taking advantage of it, but unexpectedly the matter would get worse. This was indeed a bit unexpected. He really didn't expect Marine to join forces with Lox. It turned out to be so. Let's fight, brothers. After all, everyone got up when they were squatting. Chapter 140. As soon as Su Yu and the others got up, Gangu Kong and Lox, gazes came towards them. Immediately, the two jumped almost at the same time, and they came not far from Su Yu. Su Yu, Roger, I really didn't expect us to meet so soon. Lox spoke first, with a smile on his face, as if this battle hadn't started, he had already won. Gang Bone Kong, I really didn't expect that the dignified Martial Marine would join hands with a big pirate, Tusk, maybe it's a bit ugly to spread it out. Su Yu sneered from the side. Gangu Kong heard Su Yu's words, but he didn't have much reaction. This time the teaming together, for the two of them, was using each other. Today, I will do my best to keep you and Roger in the Valley of Gods forever. The steel bones cut the railway firmly. If you have the ability, you can give it a try. Su Yu retorted. You little hares, it seems a bit too arrogant. 12, this see, but I have the final say. Lox said. The next second, Conqueror's Hockey was directly released, and he wanted Su Yu and Roger's members to feel pressure before they even fought. However, his ideas soon fell through, and the moment he released Conqueror's Hockey, Su Yu also released. The constant shock of two Conqueror's Hockey. Crack. Su Yu's Conqueror's Hockey directly caused a physical attack on the building not far away. Lox saw this scene, and suddenly his pupils shrank violently, retracting his Conqueror's Hockey. This guy, Lox frowned, but did not say anything afterwards. It can't be wrong, Su Yu's Conqueror's Hockey actually has a physical attack. It's really scary, you know that Conqueror's Hockey can't be practiced. Gangu Kong said in a deep voice. At this moment, Gangu Kong's mind suddenly flashed a thought, Su Yu, this guy must not let him grow up. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Tisk tisk tisk. Lox, you dare to say, what Shitsi Overlord has colluded with Marine? Su Yu said, waving his hand helplessly. However, it is not unreasonable for Lox to be able to mix like this. Facing Su Yu's ridicule, he just sneered. Perhaps in his eyes, all of this is not important at all, as long as he achieves his goal, no matter what price he pays. At this moment, around Su Yu, Garp, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Kaido, and Charlotte Linlin, etc. appeared. In the current Valley of the Gods, it can be said that almost all the representatives of an era have appeared on this island. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Su Yu added the Roger Pirates group, only 100 or so, and Lox plus Marine, nearly 20,000 people. It seems a bit unfair. Wu Luki glanced around and said. We are ashamed, this time seems a bit tricky. Wang also said. There is no use for more people, they are all used to make soy sauce. It is estimated that the discount can be calculated, and there is not as much as ours. Senju Hashirama added. Perhaps this is the case. Su Yu smiled, and then shouted at Lox, if they are all here, I will give you a meeting gift. After all, a blue light appeared on his body, and then he didn't move anything. Lox and the others frowned slightly. Although they hadn't found any clues so far, they didn't dare to relax. A few seconds later, a sound of tearing the air suddenly came over. What followed was that a huge shadow obscured the sky, and everyone quickly raised their heads. A huge meteorite fell. This guy is crazy. Kaido grumbled. How do I feel that this move is a bit like I want to die with us? Charlotte Linlin sneered. This meeting ceremony is indeed a bit special, but unfortunately it's useless. Golden Lion sneered. Edward, Lox yelled. I know. After all, Whitebeard walked out with a naginata in his hand, and then stuck the naginata in his hand on the ground. The next second, two apertures wrapped his fist, and then he waved his hands. Crack. Something like a glass barrier appeared on both sides, which was directly shattered by Whitebeard's fist. Tight. The meteorite that was falling rapidly was directly decomposed, turned into countless large and small rocks and fell down. At the same time, the Holy Land Mary Geoise is not calm. Clear footsteps sounded in the empty palace veranda. 5 men are walking forward in an orderly manner. Yes, they are 633 5 elders. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I tried such a situation. One of the men suddenly said. Yes, I directly summoned us twice in a short time. It seems that Lord Yim is very concerned about the Valley of the Gods. Another man continued. In that case, did Marine report the latest situation to you? The long-bearded man said. Not long ago, there was news from Marine stationed in the Valley of the Gods that Lox has landed, and the Steelbone people have not rushed to the Valley of the Gods. The man in the middle was full of disappointment. Ha ha ha, recently, our Marine hasn't had anything going well. Another man smiled bitterly. Perhaps, the story of Lox landing in the Valley of the Gods was known to Lord Yim, and they just summoned us. It's possible. While speaking, 5 elders and the others have stepped into the palace, and the person sitting on the void throne is undoubtedly Lord Yim. Chapter 141. 140 They appeared too early, ask yourself. Like last time, after entering the hall, 5 elders knelt on one knee for Im. 5 elders, come and meet Lord Yim. A thick voice echoed throughout the hall. Im slowly opened his eyes, staring sharply at the 5 of them. Sorry, Lord Yim, we were negligent and allowed Lox to successfully land in the Valley of Gods. The man in the middle spoke first. However, this time, Lord Yim, please rest assured, we will definitely handle this incident. The bearded man continued. The voice fell, and the whole hall fell into silence again. 5 elders did not continue to speak either. And Im didn't speak either, looking at them quietly. After about a few minutes, a voice that sounded gentle but strong and powerful sounded in this hall. Not only Lox, even Suyu and Roger have reached the Valley of Gods. Im said calmly. What? When 5 elders heard the words, his face suddenly changed. Damn it, did Suyu and Roger also go to the Valley of Gods? In that case, Gengukong and them are a little bit fierce. That's right, we were caught off guard by such an accident. This incident was so sudden, Suyu and Roger joined in without warning. If there is no one on our side to support it, maybe, things are not going well. This time, in order to encircle rocks, Marine basically sent most of its combat power. 5 elders began to discuss each other with you. Suddenly, one of them said to Yim. Master Yim, I know, do you want us to solve it personally when you summon us this time? As soon as the voice fell, Yim immediately replied. You don't need to do it yourself, Gangbone Kong and Lox teamed up to deal with Suyu and Roger. What? Hearing this, 5 elders was shocked again. This is too unexpected. I even joined forces with Lox. I remember that Gangu Kong mentioned this matter at the beginning, and Lox rejected it directly. Today. It's really unexpected, but the timing is pretty good, so that Marine won't have to fight against the pirates on his own side. The long-bearded man said lightly. If I didn't guess wrong, the reason Lox agreed to cooperate with Marine was probably because he knew that Suyu and Roger were here to find him. Yim said. It is so, maybe we can use this opportunity. This doesn't work. If Lox is defeated, it will be our turn next, Marine. Another man replied. That's right, it can only be the case at present, no matter which side wins, it will be beneficial to us. Yim Shinru Shisui said. What about ancient weapons? I think, Lord Yim, we'd better take action. Once the pirates get the ancient weapons, I'm afraid they will want. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As soon as the voice fell, the corners of Yim's mouth began to rise slightly, and calmly said, will the world government be destroyed? It is ridiculous, how can the world government that has ruled the world for more than 800 years be destroyed by destruction? We were abrupt. But, you are not wrong. Maybe they are really possible, but unfortunately, they appeared too early, the ancient weapons have not really awakened, and they can't fight our world government at all. Sneered. The 3 ancient weapons, I have a hunch, it's coming soon, in the near future. After hearing Im's words, 5 elders nodded. Then this time, what message do you want to convey to us? Lord Yim. If Lox survives in the Valley of Gods, erase his name from his history as soon as possible. If it's Suyu and Roger, it's still the same thing. In this battle in the Valley of the Gods, the pirates must have one end point. Yim's voice fell off. 5 elders said in unison. Okay, we understand, Lord Yim. At this time in the Valley of the Gods, the war has begun. Roger and Suyu deal with Lox. Gengukong is against Senju Hashirama. Rayleigh met the Golden Lion. Anyway, the current situation is very chaotic. Ha 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 ha. After a fight, Loxton became excited. Suyu, Roger, do you think you have the ability to kill me now? The corners of Roger's mouth raised slightly. If you don't try, how do you know it's impossible? Quote. Diaresis he, it's ridiculous. Suyu didn't speak, but at the same time, a pair of horns grew on his forehead. Then he folded his hands together, and red lines appeared around his eyes. Yes, his current state is the Ghost Blood family plus Sage mode. In this state, Suyu's basic strength has been greatly improved. After warming up, it's time to get serious next. As soon as the voice fell, Suyu disappeared in place. In the next second, he appeared directly in the sky above Lox, with thunder and lightning still wrapped around his body. When Loxton's pupils shrank sharply, his brows frowned. Quite fast, compared to just now, there are totally 2 people. Not only that, but this guy has one more ability. Brush. Suyu slammed a punch directly, and a powerful shock rushed directly towards Lox. Boom. A sound. The ground exploded in an instant, and a large cloud of smoke mixed with flying sand and rocks scattered in all directions. Wong is good. Suyu did not stop, but waved. A huge fireball fell directly. With a bang, it exploded again. This guy Suyu, I haven't seen him for a while, and he has grown so much stronger again. Roger sighed inwardly as he stared at Su Yu. He can basically clearly feel that Su Yu's current strength has surpassed himself. Boom. Suddenly, in the center of the smoke and dust, locks passed directly through the smoke and rushed towards the Su Yu string at a very fast speed. Chapter 142. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Staring at Locks, who was approaching extremely fast, Su Yu didn't panic, only to see him slowly raising his hands. Thunder Speed Finger Pistol. As soon as the voice fell, thunder and lightning were immediately wrapped around his hands, and then on 10 fingers, thunder and lightning were directly shot out like bullets. Zitsa. If it were on the ground, Locks could still hide, but he was in midair now. And Locks can't fly. Although he can change the trajectory with his own strength, it is definitely not as smooth as on the ground. Swish. I saw Locks evading dozens of hits, but in the end he still hit Su Yu's finger pistol. Immediately after it fell directly to the ground, the new smoke directly impacted the old smoke. At this time, Roger on the ground took this opportunity to directly use armament hockey to cover the long sword in his hand. Then quickly rushed to the ground where Locks fell. Drink. Roger jumped up and cut it off. Unexpectedly, the next second, he flew out directly. In midair, after spinning a few times, Roger landed on the ground, but the impact was still making him retreat, and finally he inserted a long sword into the ground to relieve the impact. Tattoo. 637 inches. Locks walked out of the smoke and dust. Because of being struck by lightning just now, his clothes still emit black scorched smoke. He took off the clothes on his upper body, and his deep pupils glanced at Su Yu floating in the air and Roger not far from the ground. Your growth is really not what ordinary people can do. Tisk 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 tisk. I really regret not paying attention to it earlier and then killing you. However, I don't think I can blame me. Who would have thought that there are people like you in the world? But, if you think about it carefully, it's actually not too late to kill you today. Locks sighed lightly and said. It's a pity, in my eyes, it's too late. Although you and Marine teamed up today, I don't necessarily think you can win. Su Yu retorted. Hee, if you think you have a chance, just try it. Locks sneered. Soon, the battle started again, and it continued for several hours. Without knowing what the situation was, suddenly the Valley of Gods was covered with dark clouds, the wind was howling, and heavy rain began to fall. The weather has also become colder. The sea water of the Valley of the Gods turned red. Yes, these are the blood-stained red. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A few hours ago, I could barely see dozens of relatively complete castles, but now, I can't see any castles here. They were all large and small pits, filled with rainwater stained with blood and corpses. It seems a bit shocking. At sea, Su Yu's ship. Because of the wind and the shaking of the island, huge waves splashed on the sea, and all the warships on the sea were crumbling. It's been several hours, I don't know what's wrong with the current situation. Lem was wearing a raincoat, watching the movement on the island. I hope Su Yu and the others can return safely. Ram also whispered on the side. As for Aizen, the guy is drinking hot tea and reading a book leisurely. No matter how much the boat shakes, no drop of the hot tea on his cup spills outside. I said you too, don't fall, I don't want to get wet. Aizen, who was reading the book, reminded Lem and Ram who were standing outside. Lem and Ram nodded. After all, it would be useless to look at them this way, so they walked back. The weather is really strange. If it changes, the surrounding temperature has dropped a lot. Lem took off his raincoat and spit out. Not surprising. Hey, I don't know what happened to Su Yu, whether anyone was injured. Ram said lightly. Aizen raised his mouth slightly, and calmly said, don't worry, your worry is completely unnecessary. Even if we all die, I don't think Su Yu will necessarily die. Rem and Ram looked at Aizen blankly. Don't believe me, time will tell. Aizen said, took a sip of hot tea, and then read the book. Let alone, Locks deserves to be the maritime overlord of Roger's previous era in the original book. Although he and Roger have the upper hand, the guy Locks is like immune to death's Xiaoqiang, and his life is very tenacious. Moreover, the toughness of his own skin is completely out of Kaido and others. Boom. Locks fell to the ground again. Due to the strong impact, several large cracks broke directly on the ground. It is estimated that after a few more strokes, it is very likely that the island will split. Locks picked up the long sword not far away again, and said coldly, what a joke, how could I lose to you two such brats? After all, from his arm, a black gas envelops the long sword. Yes, this is armament hockey. This guy is a perverted version of Xiaoqiang, the moves are useless to him at all. Su Yu said lightly. Roger on the side nodded in agreement. Yes, it is indeed beyond my expectation. This guy's skin is not as tough as usual. If this is the case, I can only try that trick. Su Yu said solemnly. What moves? Press the bottom of the box. I don't like to use it under normal circumstances, it consumes my own energy too much, but the power is very tyrannical. Su Yu explained. Could it be? Roger said, his pupils suddenly enlarged. Su Yu did not answer, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Then put your hands together. Sage Art Wood style, the real number Senju. He doesn't like to use this trick, because it consumes more energy. Chapter 143. As Su Yu's voice fell, the ground suddenly began to vibrate again. Locke stared at Su Yu, frowning involuntarily. What is this guy, what is going to do? As soon as he finished speaking, a cloud of smoke spread in all directions in front of him. In just a few seconds, a huge Senju Buddha statue appeared in everyone's sight. Locks was stunned on the spot. Although he had heard Kaido mention it before, he didn't care much at the time. Now that he saw it with his own eyes, he was still shocked. Why does this guy have such power? Roger standing below was also dumbfounded. He had also heard that Suyu could summon a huge wooden man before. Even with a trace of psychological defense, he was shocked after seeing it with his own eyes. Sure enough, Suyu, my decision was right, you guy is really a monster. After Roger murmured, he quickly evacuated backwards, joking, the next battle, but it was a large-scale battle, if one might not, the province would take himself and go in. At the same time, because the body of the Senju Buddha is so huge, everyone who is fighting, whether it is marine or a pirate, can basically see the upper body of the Senju Buddha statue. Why such a big wooden monster suddenly appeared? Marine, who had never seen the Senju Buddha statue, said in a deep voice. I don't know what's going on. I only heard the ground shake again. Then I looked around and saw this huge wooden monster. Another marine followed the soldier. Dao. Me too, so am I, but I am curious whether this huge wooden monster that suddenly appeared is our marine's reinforcements, or Locke's reinforcements, or Suyu and the others. I don't know, I hope it belongs to us. If such a power is on Suyu's side, our chances of winning are estimated to be getting smaller and smaller. Just as they were discussing, the man currently serving as Major General of Naval Headquarters spoke up. Stop talking, this wooden giant is from Suyu's side. When everyone heard it, there was no doubt that their faces were unusually ugly. Appeared. Kaido stared sharply at the upper body of the Senju Buddha statue and sighed deeply. This is the giant you used to talk about? Charlotte Linlin on the side asked. Yes, Kaido replied. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Except for the bigger one, I don't look very good at others, it seems that I can't help but look weak. Long Bread said lightly. Ha ha ha, Kaido couldn't help but laughed. You guy, you are really funny, you can't help but tisk 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 tisk, if he came to attack you, I think you would not say that. At that time, when I was on my own mission to kill Suyu, if Marine hadn't come out suddenly, I'm afraid that his grave head would be more than 1 meter tall. If it wasn't for the Sengoku guys who came out before, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to escape smoothly. At that time, Sengoku was hung up and beaten by this giant. It was almost gone. Kaido continued. Seeing Kaido's serious look, Long Bread smiled and didn't speak. I don't know if Captain Locks can resist it. If he can't resist it, I guess. Kaido said afterwards and did not continue. Even at that point, I said, I will take you away. Charlotte Linlin said calmly. Gengukong was also affected by the Senju Buddha statue, and his fight with Senju Hashirama stopped. Steel, I told you before that I was almost beaten to death by this thing. Sengoku said with a solemn expression on the side. Seeing this Senju Buddha statue, Sengoku couldn't help taking a breath. After all, the last time the Senju Buddha statue left him with a big shadow. Hearing Sengoku's words, Gengukong was relieved. Yes, he was a little bit happy in his heart, it was Locks fighting Suyu and the others. Although I really don't want to admit it, I still have to say that your captain is really a monster, and he can even make this kind of thing. Gengkong said in a deep voice towards Senju Hashirama. Find flowers. Senju Hashirama was taken aback for a moment, and then grinned. It's okay, this is not a ruining move. Senju Hashirama invisibly installed a large pen, and directly blocked Sengoku's words with the steel bones. Actually, Senju Hashirama didn't think he was pretending, because in his eyes, Senju really clapped his hands and shouted. You guy, you really can scare people. Gengukong sneered. Senju Hashirama was silent for a few seconds. After thinking about it, he really hasn't used Sage Art Wood style true number Senju in this world. If this is the case, I can't shame Suyu and the others. Senju Hashirama said, red lines appeared around his eyes. Seeing this scene, Sengoku's face suddenly became stiff, because Suyu was also like this at the time. Steel, I think things are going to be bad. Sengoku said haltingly. Gengukong looked at Sengoku in a shocked look, should not. It should be. As soon as Sengoku's voice fell, Senju Hashirama shouted, Sage Art Wood style real number Senju. After all, the ground shook from the distance again. Another huge Senju Buddha image appeared in the eyes of everyone. Undoubtedly, at this moment, most of the Marines and the pirates were directly stunned on the spot. Why is there another one? Damn it, what the hell is this? Damn, this battle is not at our level at all. Some Marines collapsed directly, sitting on the ground, raising their heads, looking directly at the two Senju Buddha statues, letting the raindrops hit his face. He didn't lower his head. It's over completely, we can't win, they are all monsters, they are not humans at all. Chapter 144. Guru. The group of people swallowed uncontrollably, the sweat on their cheeks mixed with raindrops spilling on the ground. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, at this moment, a Marine stared at the Senju Buddha statue with a godless gaze. He had a hideous face and laughed crumbled. It makes people look a little bit pitiful. Actually, he is nothing more than a Marine elite, but in this situation, the so-called Marine elite can't even count as a fart. This is the power of gods. The Marine elite shouted in disintegration. Undoubtedly, This sentence directly brought a devastating morale weakening to the surrounding marine. Most of the marines have already begun to retreat, and they have an idea in their hearts. In this battle, they can't see the future of marine at all. At the same time, Kaido was stunned. What the hell? Two such monsters came out all at once. Kaido's face was very ugly at this time. It seems that even if we have a temporary joint with marine, it seems, that can't change the ending. Charlotte Linlin said solemnly. Longbread glanced at Senju Hashirama, who was standing on the forehead of another Senju Buddha statue, and then said lightly, that guy. I remember the wanted order wrote that he was called Hashirama, right? Charlotte Linlin nodded aside and chuckled. Yes, but I guess now that there may be more than 2 people on Suyu's boat who can do this kind of trick. Kaido and Longbread heard this, and the expression on his face instantly solidified. After all, what Charlotte Linlin said is quite reasonable. Suyu will, Senju Hashirama will, maybe there is a third one, but it's just not used. Damn it, Suyu, what are the people on this boat? Kaido cursed a little angrily. He once wanted to pay Suyu's blood debts, but now that he thinks about it, forget it. There is no need to doubt that the expression on Sengoku's face at this time is hard to see the extreme. Sengoku, you are really right. This guy really made a monster like this. Gengukong's voice was very low. It seems that even if we temporarily reach an alliance with Rock's pirate, we may not be able to defeat it. Sengoku calmly said. There is no way, I have to fight it hard. The steel bone said coldly, and the long sword in his hand emitted black gas. Sengoku nodded, and his body began to change. Yes, he was about to become a big golden Buddha. Suyu sighed. When he saw another Senju Buddha statue, Suyu already understood. I didn't expect that the guy Hashirama would also come to Count Senju. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Just as Suyu's voice fell, suddenly, a light blade slashed directly towards this side. Boom. A sound. A huge arm of the Senju Buddha statue fell down. Wandering, Suyu murmured and focused his attention on Locks not far away. I saw him slowly raising his hands. Yelled from the mouth. Get up. As the word, chi, fell, at the bottom of the Senju Buddha statue, a blue flame spread instantly, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into the armor of the Senju Buddha statue. The huge Senju Buddha statue is full of blue flames. Don't say it, look at it, mighty Haki. Rocks, let us work out the old and new accounts together today. Suyu stood on the forehead of the Senju Buddha statue and shouted at Locks. Locks sneered. It's ridiculous, do you think that you can win a big gadget? Then just try it. After all, Suyu put his hands together again. Top on top, kakaka. With the last sound of Suyu's fall, the Senju Buddha statue began to move. The huge arms on the body began to stretch, followed closely, and in the next second, countless fists began to fall. Come on, a showdown. Locks grinned grimly, then waved his long sword in his hand. One after another, the sword pressure all rushed towards the fist. Boom. It was above midair and fell behind with a bang, directly producing a thick cloud of smoke and dust. And around the smoke and dust, wood chips flew everywhere. It seems that even with the addition of armor, he still can't resist the pressure of his sword. Suyu murmured, and finally, he made a bold decision. Armament Haki was added directly to the fist on the Senju Buddha statue. Sure enough, although there was a bang in the air in the next second, no wood scum was dropped. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang, one after another shocks sounded, followed by the generation of a stream of air, which constantly washed the surrounding raindrops. If you stand under the collision point, maybe you really think the rain has stopped. Faced with punch after punch, Locks was obviously not fast enough. After swinging the last sword pressure, he quickly dodged toward the surroundings, while counter-attacking at the same time. Boom, boom. When the huge fist hit the ground, the entire Valley of Gods seemed to have an earthquake. The power is amazing. Roger sighed uncontrollably, standing in the distance. Kacha. Suddenly, he was standing on the ground at 3.6, directly cracking a huge crack, and it was still spreading with the shaking. It doesn't seem good if this continues. The Valley of Gods will not last long before it will sink to the bottom of the sea. Roger murmured. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, Senju Hashirama's side also activated the top of the tower, and the vibration became more intense. Moreover, the cracks were directly deeper, and what was unexpected is that the Valley of Gods began to split. Chapter 145. Crack. Under repeated shocks, the Valley of Gods split into 3 pieces, 2 of which were large in area, and 1 was relatively small. The big 2 pieces are still being bombarded continuously. If this continues, it will not take long before they will inevitably sink to the bottom of the sea. Because of the split, many who were still fighting stopped. Who are these guys? The king also stared at the 2 Senju Buddha statues and couldn't help but complain. Don't say it. I don't think it will last long for it to sink to the bottom of the sea. Let's go to another place as soon as possible. Wu Luki exhorted. Got it. Wang Yi Kaido. At this time, Dinasa was also shocked by the current form. He really is very strong. Denisha murmured. Boom, boom. Suyu is still launching attacks, while Locks is dodge and counterattack. Boom. Due to the quantity, Locks was directly hit on the low ground by a huge wooden boxer. Drink. Locks roared, and the whole person came out directly from the wooden fist. He was like a Xiaoqiang who was not dead. The vitality is very tenacious. Locks jumped up, waving the long sword in his hand. His speed was very fast, and with the help of a huge wooden fist, he kept climbing in the direction of Suyu. Suyu didn't panic when he saw this, but saw the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Zitsa. In the next second, the entire body of the Senju Buddha statue began to flash with thunder and lightning. Locks hadn't reacted yet. First, he was struck by the lightning on the body of the Senju Buddha, and then a huge lightning fell from the sky. Boom. With the sound of a huge explosion, Locke stumbled directly and fell to the ground. Immediately afterwards, he was greeted by countless fists. Bang bang bang. New smoke soon filled the surrounding area. After a while, there was a sound in the center of the smoke and dust. How could I lose to you? It is absolutely impossible for me to lose to you. This era, but it's called Locks. With the last roar, Locks decided to make a hard move directly, and covered armament hockey with both hands. Then he waved at his fastest speed. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Boom. The wooden fist that can directly resist the Senju Buddha statue in front, and after a while, Locks' crazy face is distorted, but the power of his punches greatly increased. The huge wooden fist that directly covered armament hockey with Suyu was broken. This guy, Suyu frowned. Locks deserves to be the maritime overlord before the Roger era of the original book. This guy really developed his physical skills, and hockey, to an astonishing level. Perhaps, if in the original book, he was not defeated by Roger and Garp in the Valley of Gods, his achievements may completely surpass Roger. Then your era today, let me put an end to you, Locks. Suyu roared. Then he put his hands together again. The speed of the Senju Buddha image has increased again. Countless huge fists fell like cannonballs. Crazy Locks is still not at a disadvantage. Puff. However, after every meeting, he suddenly vomited a mouthful of blood, and what followed was that his speed began to slow down. In the end, he was directly hit on the ground by a huge wooden punch. Boom. With one punch down, the big hole on the ground continued to deepen. After going on for a while, the divided valley of the gods finally couldn't bear it. With a huge vibration, this place began to collapse, sinking to the bottom of the sea at an extremely fast speed. Affected by this, the Senju Buddha statue also fell into the sea. And Suyu flew with the help of his own superpowers. Call. He was gasping for breath. Now, he is temporarily unable to use hockey, and it will take a few minutes before he can continue to use it. The waves continue to gobble up the ground that hasn't sank to the bottom of the sea. Suyu frowned. He carefully observed the movement from above. Soon, he saw Locks moving with the waves. No matter what, Suyu depends on people when he is born, and corpses when he die. It is absolutely impossible for him to give Locks a chance to survive, otherwise, his revenge will come soon. Suyu quickly landed on the ground that was about to collapse, and then picked up a long sword stuck in the ground. Then fly in the direction where Locks is. At the same time, Locks was just pushed onto a piece of the ground by the waves. At this time, he was not fainted, his eyes were open, but his whole body was unable to move. Seeing Suyu flying over, Locks' mouth raised slightly. Laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha. But while smiling, blood spurted from his mouth again. You lose, Locks, Suyu said coldly. Yeah, I lost. I'm afraid I will never think that I can be defeated by you. You are very strong, I don't deny that. So, from now on, it's time to announce that the 637 Locks era is over. Suyu said while raising the long sword in his hand. Looking at the long sword that flashed in the cold light, Locks didn't have a trace of fear on his face, but sneered again. Suyu, I won't die. Suyu didn't speak, and went straight down. After a short while, the bright red blood stained the ground. Won't die, Suyu said, lost in thought. He remembered that in the original book, he had said this to Rayleigh before Roger was executed. I won't die. Call. Suyu let out a sigh of relief. Don't know why, he is now interested in the 100 years of history that disappeared. He wants to know what secrets the world government hides, why Roger and Locks both said he would not die. A blue flame burned in Suyu's hand, and then he threw it on Locks. You won't die, I'll just wait to see which day you will be resurrected.